or like tried to make movies off of the subsequent books in the series. So this may be the first time that we actually get a continuation movie to a Dune film that's been made.
Well, Nick, I just realized I never hit the go live button. So, hey, everybody, welcome. Dune Part 2. It's been announced. Yay. Nick and I just had a conversation like the old days.
On our own.
Just between each other. Tones, 1/6 shooter. Hopefully you can see us now. I hit the correct button. Yay for us.
Oh, well. So
yeah, we just did like the first.
Dune.
Yeah. I saw Dune. Nick has not. We're not going to go into a deep discussion. I thought it was fantastic. Legendary Pictures just announced Dune Part 2 has been greenlit. So, yay, there we go.
If you want to hear the discussion that we had, listen to the audio-only podcast when it releases on Wednesday.
Oh, my God. What a fudge up. But anyways, yeah, like I said, real quick, I thought Dune Part 1 was fantastic. Visually the best looking sci-fi film I've ever seen, and just not to be repetitive to Nick, the best marriage between practical and CG. I agree with Christopher Nolan's most recent tweet on the matter. It's just unbelievable. So kudos to Denis and the cast, but more importantly, thank God Legendary finally came out today and just said, you know what, let's stop making these Dune fans suffer. We're doing Part 2. It's happening. Hopefully they get up and shooting in 2022 for a release in 2023. But yeah, we did talk about for about, I don't know, 7 minutes before I decided to hit the go live button. I saw them in the chat, Nick. They're like, oh man, technical issues, and Matt probably just smashed something. And I'm like, what are they talking about? We look fine. We turned the color back on. Nick's been drinking all day, so his face is red. But nope, you got to hit go live dummy. So here we are. Oh well, go see Dune if you can do it safely. In theaters, IMAX preferred. All right. One other thing I want to touch on before we get into the day's topics in Star Wars, because there's a lot of good stuff. I mean, last week, thank God we had Neil. Otherwise, Nick and I would have probably been sitting here twisting our tits and trying to spin the light material we had to talk about last week, but that is not the case this week. We've got Mando updates. We've got an Ahsoka update with a confirmation from the cast before she deleted it. So like I said, there's some good Star Wars stuff to talk about, but you know, we kind of like to kind of keep you in the know with other cool things we have come across since we last talked to you on the Star Wars Time show. So we got Dune out of the way. Go see it in the theater if you can. If not, find some with HBO Max. I watched it twice within 24 hours because I'm a good father and I'm a good husband, and I forced my ladies to watch it. I did it cleverly, though, Nick. It was Friday night. We had the first fire in the house. And on HBO, they actually have like a lot of extras out right now that you can just fire up. So while we're just kind of sitting there, they're playing Jenga or something, and we're getting ready to eat, I'm just throwing on some of the behind the scenes, some Zendaya spots, and I can see the little one like, like,
starting to perk up.
Yeah, like kind of paying attention to it, because while she's moved on from her Star Wars days, I mean, she doesn't hate it, but it's just, as much as it pains me to say, she could give two shits at this point in time. I mean, it's sad, but is what it is. Maybe she'll come back to it after she realizes that her little friends are not the end-all, be-all in life, and that Star Wars is fantastic. But anyways, I kind of like osmosised it into their brains through these extras. And then when we're done eating and we're looking around like, hey, you know, we usually like to watch a movie Friday night. It's like, yeah, what do you guys think about checking out Dune? And Charlie's like, okay. I was like, well, that's all I need to hear. The 5-year-old said yes, so I hit play and we watched it again. She fell asleep with about an hour to go, but in the end, I believe the wife liked it, and I definitely enjoyed watching it again on HBO Max.
Yeah, I'll catch it probably in a couple of weeks, because I just am going to be busy for the next couple of weeks. I have a wedding coming up. I have Halloween stuff coming up this weekend, and then after that, I have my Disney trip coming up. So who the fuck knows?
Nick,
when I'll be able to see Dune.
Are you and Taylor like you're the type that still likes to dress up and shit, even though you're adults, right? Or no?
No, I mean, no, we don't really do costumes all that much. Like, I think last year I had like a Mighty Ducks jersey, and like that was my costume. Was I just wore the Mighty Ducks jersey, and then this year I have like a Bob Ross wig, the same wig that I used for the Manscaped videos that I made.
Your
like
pubes.
I'm just gonna wear that. Yeah, just gonna wear that, and then that's it. So yeah, we don't really like dress up in any sort of like huge fashion. I think Taylor might dress up as like a character from Clueless, which is just like wearing different clothes than she usually wears. So yeah, we don't do like full get ups.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was the intern Kung Fu was giving me shit one year because I think he still likes to go to adult Halloween parties and dress up with the wife. I'm like, I just don't get that. I really don't. I mean, I could somewhat justify it in college, going to frat houses or sorority houses and getting all schlitzed out and still dressing up, but it just. And I'm not saying if you're doing it you're a weirdo. I just kind of feel like a shithead being in my 40s, getting dressed up with other adults for an excuse to drink. I mean, I don't need to dress up for an excuse to have one or two more beers than I should have. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So, oh well. I didn't know if like you said you had Halloween plans. I didn't know if you're talking like you had to go dress up.
Oh yeah,
or
we're having
do
people like
silly.
over. Yeah, we're having people over to the house.
Are you
Saturday.
checking their vaccination cards before they come in?
But everybody that I know is vaccinated, so I don't even need to check it.
So you're not like me where you literally have some. I mean, I have what I used to consider best friends, like 25 plus years, that I just don't know if I can hang out with them anymore. You know what I mean? Like
no.
you haven't ran into any of that. So I've picked bad friends. Is what you're saying.
At least like anybody in Austin.
Yeah.
Like everybody that like all of my friends that are in Austin, like they got vaccinated as soon as it opened up and they were able to get their appointments made.
Must be nice. Must be nice. It's actually starting to affect me a little bit. I mean, because I'm talking like some of these people, I was their best man. Like these aren't just casual fucking buddies. These are guys that I've, like I said, known 25 plus years, and it's like, I knew someone would get me there. That's exactly what Kung Fu says, Trevor, but you play with toys. Right.
I think the same conversation came up during Halloween last year.
Yeah. It just is weird to me. Like I just look at adults to dress up in costumes to drink with each other as being odd. Well, there goes Nick dropping out. Let me add him back in real quick. This is so funny. I mean, ever since Nick upgraded to Windows 11, his shit literally bombs out. I called it perfectly, right?
Matt called it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, he called it right before we went live, and it happened.
Literally, before we went live, Nick called in at like 2:25. I said, so about 2:45, you're going to have the bomb out, and look at this. The force
right
is
on the
strong
nose.
with me.
Right on the nose.
All right.
Set your watch by it, really.
Unbelievable. I just isn't that fucking funny? I mean,
it's definitely based off of when we record, because like whenever it's 25 minutes from when we hit the record, like when we start the video, like sharing something, because we sat on Skype calls like for 25 minutes before we went live, and it didn't happen. So it has to be something with the recording. Anyway, we're back here again.
Fucking Windows, man. You gotta get that shit patched up, or have Trevor send you an Apple device or something like that. Yeah, I guess last comment on Halloween, I'm kind of with 1/6 shooter. I mean, once I stopped dressing up and going around neighborhoods, Halloween is just not a holiday I give two shits about, to be honest with you. I don't really care. It's having a kid, it's fun, right? Because they get into it and you can take them out and see them enjoying it, but it's just like, hey, whatever, maybe we'll get some good horror movies, as Trevor's saying in the chat. All right, the one thing I wanted to talk about, Nick, it's a new show, and I kind of like talking about new shows that are out there for people to watch. Over here, Foundation, I'm a big fan, always looking forward to it. It's got like that Mandalorian effect where I look forward to it every Friday, so I can't wait to see what's going on in episode 7, just the way they end them. They're always ending on cliffhangers. But Apple TV Plus dropped another original series last Friday in Invasion. which I would
I
think
heard about that.
people like Nick or people that listen to the show may like. It's obviously invasion, aliens, got the sci-fi vibes. And I guess before I get into it, Nick, do you guys have TV Plus? Yeah, you do, because you watch Lasso.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I know they didn't do it for Lasso season 2, and maybe they don't do it for second seasons, but do you like how Apple TV Plus for a new show will release like the first 2 or 3 episodes at once and then move into a staggered release? Or are you like Netflix groomed? Do you want the binge immediately?
I don't really care because we don't binge stuff really anymore.
Right.
Like, even if it's available, like we watched, like when Squid Game came out and we finally decided to watch it, we still watched it basically we would watch one episode a day or maybe one
like
episode
a week,
every few days.
week or so to get through.
Yeah. So we don't typically binge, so I don't really care how they do it.
Okay.
I know for like they did the same thing for Mythic Quest 2, where I think the second season actually did have like the first 2 episodes release simultaneously, and then they moved to a staggered release. But yeah, it really doesn't matter to me because we're not the type of people that's gonna like sit down and like for a brand new show watch like all of them in one day.
Okay.
Like we'll watch, the most we do is like, we'll watch like 2 episodes of The Sopranos back to back in one day. And then like maybe after that hit like a Curb. But yeah, we don't typically like.
It's funny. I've actually just started watching Curb yesterday. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. This show's. Okay. I mean, it's been on for like 21 years, even though it took, sometimes it would take 2 or 3 years off in between seasons. And
yeah,
the first season, dude, it looks like they shot it with a handheld VHS camera. Like there's
it does
zero professionalism put into the first season. Like it's like, I mean, I don't know the backstory. I don't know if Larry David didn't have any money or if that's the look they really wanted to make it look like it was his real life. But man, it's rough, but it is funny. I mean, come on,
yeah. By that time, he was already Seinfeld rich, because I think in one of the first. They
talk about it. Yeah, they're like, "Yo, tell him you wrote for Seinfeld."
Yeah,
trying to get a dinner table.
Up there, like they were talking about his car, and he's like, "For $456 million, you can't get a better car than this," or something like that. And like they give him a lot of shit about it sometimes. But yeah, like I think they were going for like he's just being followed around his house by a camera. But they switch. Like I think by the time you get to like season 3, it cleans up a lot.
They paid for a few more cameras and maybe a studio. Yeah. Okay. So anyways, back to my point. I kind of like Apple's model where if it's a new show or like Nick said, maybe even some season 2s. I don't think they did that on Lasso. I can't remember if they put out like episode 1 and 2. Either. But anyways, Invasion, the first 3 episodes dropped on Friday to release date. And I think that's a nice way to, especially for this show, to allow newcomers, well, we're all newcomers, but the people watching it to kind of dig in and then make a decision if they care to keep going. Versus the weekly release where you got to wait, like, hey, episode 1 was okay, but now I got to wait for episode 2. You get to episode 2, you're like, all right, fuck this, it's stupid. I just wasted a week waiting. I don't know, either way, but Invasion, I've watched the first 3. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I want to love this show, but there's just something about it so far. It's, in my opinion, no spoilers, they're being way too cryptic and cautious with the whole invasion aspect of the narrative. This show, to me, is more of a character-driven show at this point. You essentially have four point of view characters / families groups. And you're really just bouncing between them and experiencing what they're going through. It's very like what The Walking Dead eventually became, where the show became more about what it's like living in a zombie apocalypse versus the actual zombie apocalypse. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I stopped watching it.
Okay, yeah, it's like, and I'm watching Invasion, and 3 episodes in, I'm like, all right, okay, you get little splashes of these so-called invaders, but it's not enough. It's not enough. I hope by episode 4, like, they finally are just like, boom, okay, here we go. But I don't know. I feel like Invasion is trying to be The Walking Dead right off the bat, where it's more about how a family, lovers, kids, military personnel are reacting emotionally to this unexplained event, which really the whole world doesn't even know what's happening yet. They think it's, and this isn't a spoiler, but they think it's like random terrorist attacks so far. So if you like shows that go really hardcore into character and building up characters and that type of shit, husbands cheating on wives and wanting to, it's just, I don't know. So I'm going to stick to it. Why not? I'm paying for the shit. You might as well. But Invasion so far has not grabbed my attention like Foundation has. I mean, Foundation is 100% appointment TV for me. I pretty much watch it every Friday afternoon before it's family nighttime because I love it. I want to see what's happening next. But Invasion at this point after 3, I'm like, okay, can we just start like fucking seeing some alien ships or just people getting waxed at this point? Why are we going back and forth and here and dudes hanging out in the desert? So there you go. There's my quick take on Invasion.
Might check it out at some point, but we have a lot to get through, so that'll be on the back burner for sure.
All right, dude, let's go ahead and talk some Star Wars after we wasted our first 7 minutes talking to ourselves. But hey, like Nick said, you can listen to that conversation. Think of it as it's kind of like a deep cut. It's a bonus. Yeah. It's a bonus track. If you're only
it's a deleted scene.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a deleted idiot is what it is. It's just, I'm sitting here, I'm like, why the fuck do they keep saying we're having technical difficulties? Do they know that Nick is going to drop off of Skype soon? Or is it because we turned the lights back on and we're colorized again? But no, it's because I never hit the go live button. I wondered why the screen just kept saying preview, preview, preview. But now you know, and knowing is half the battle. All right, dude, let's get into the thick of it here. We'll get off of our Dune screen. So congratulations to Denis, my boy Dave Bautista. Apparently he's going to have a much bigger role in part 2, as well as most of the, I guess, now pronounced Harkonnens. That one threw me a bit. Did you ever watch 84 Dune, or have you managed to pass on that?
I didn't watch it, no. Yeah,
because in that they call them the Harkonnens. And then this one, they're like, oh, the Harkonnens. I'm like, hey, man, they're the fucking Harkonnens. But knowing Denis and his love of the book, I'm guessing he's probably right versus David Lynch in the 1984 version of Dune. So I guess Harkonnens it is. All hail the Atreides. All hail Muad'Dib. Anyways, Mando, season 3. All right, we got a couple stories to tell you if you've not been paying attention. And this first one here, Nick, I think this could be similar to the Bill Burr technique of yesteryear. Because what we're talking about, last week, Sasha Banks, I don't know who was talking to her, probably some wrestling rubes. But she more or less comes out and says, hey, I'm not in The Mandalorian Season 3. So here's her quote. That's the news. No Koska Reeves in Mandalorian Season 3, according to Sasha Banks. So she said, first of all, thanks for trying to get that out, but I'm not on the next season. But it was incredible being on The Mandalorian on Star Wars. To be on a franchise that is so huge and so loved. Just look at the reception from fans outside of the WWE universe. It was the best. I guess I should be reading in a female voice, right? It was the best.
I don't know. She has a pretty deep voice for a girl.
You know, it's funny. Like, I don't actively follow the WWE, but didn't she kind of get like a major boost in the system from Mandalorian? Like they let her go after the title or something like that? Or do you even know?
I have no fucking idea. Okay. No. Yeah. Gotcha. I have no clue. I haven't watched WWE in 20 years. I don't know. All I know is that, like, Actually, I don't know anything. I was gonna say I thought I knew something, but I don't. I don't know.
I don't know. I see your name
anything.
being thrown in with like Becky Lynch and some of the other girls that I believe have the title at this point. So I do think it boosted her. It boosted her spotlight in the WWE. So what do you think here, Nick? Is she doing her best Bill Burr and just lying straight up, or do you see potential for Koska not being needed in Mandalorian season 3?
I mean, I could see potential for her not being needed, honestly, but I do kind of think that this is a Burr play. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't have her. I mean, she was a pretty, essential part of I guess the trio with Bo-Katan, Axe, and then her. So I don't know why she wouldn't be in it, considering we're still assuming that Bo-Katan's crew is going to be pretty essential to season 3 storylines. She might be just playing coy. She probably also knows she signed an NDA, and if she says anything about it, then she may not have the star power that somebody like Bill Burr or others can afford.
We'll be talking about one. Like I think Rosario probably got slapped on the face this weekend with what she did on social media. We'll get there. That's in the Ahsoka story. Yeah. But honestly, I think Bill Burr's method of denial is probably the best, because a lot of times actors be like, I can't, and the him and Holland pretty much gives the shit away. But when they just come out and flat out lie to you, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm not in it. I mean, Bill Burr, literally, I linked to the article. You can go check it out on StarWarsTime.net. We'd love for you to do so. But he's like, what are you guys talking about? I'm not in Mandalorian season 2. Shit, I haven't even gotten a call. And lo and behold, he has probably one of the most memorable episodes in season 2. So she could very well just be Bill Burr in it, as we will call it moving forward.
Yeah. I think that's likely the case. I mean, I don't think that if she is in it, I don't think that her role is going to be extensive. It'll probably be just like it was last time, where she's kind of in it for 1, maybe 2 episodes, plays like a nice side character with a few lines here and there, and then kind of drifts off into the background while the main characters move on. But I do think that she still has value there as a character for season 3. So I do think she might be pulling a Burr.
If we want to take like the kind of the theory from toy collecting, if they make an action figure of you, there's a good chance you're probably sticking around. And she got an action figure. Not that I have it yet, because I apparently buy from stores that ship shit like 6 months after everyone else gets it. And Axe Woves did not get a figure, but what's his name, Simon Kasparidis or whatever his name is, he kind of hinted like, oh no, Axe was off doing something that we may something. So I'm kind of with Nick here. I think she's kind of pulling our chains. We're in the chat here. We're getting some good theories too. It's like, I mean, she was in the last episode. She was on the fucking bridge when Luke Skywalker walked in. So, we know Cara Dune is gone. Good riddance. Who cares? But it did seem like Koska was a main along with Bo-Katan. It's like she was her accessory. And if Koska's not there, then you'd have to assume maybe Axe could step in and be the accessory in season 3. I don't know. I mean, I've become almost like a stalker of Katie Sackhoff's Instagram these days, just trying to figure out if she's going to the Mando set, because I see Lateef Crowder. He's going every day. He didn't fucking care. He's like, Bom Dia. He's playing his music. He's got like the Mando Dread gif on, and he shows like the studio as he's pulling in. So I know Lateef has been in the armor for the past month, pretty much daily. Probably doing most everything, because remember, Pedro's filming The Last of Us right now. So I don't even think Pedro's been on set yet, or if he'll even be on set for this whole season. This could be, wasn't it season 1, Nick?
ADR.
Yeah, wasn't it season 1 where he mostly just did voice parts? I don't know. I feel like Koska's too big of a named character, so unless I did a little digging, and apparently Sasha's in that slightly loopy anti-vax crowd. I don't know this could just be preemptive, and they're like, yeah, we don't want that shit to get a little too crazy like our girl Gina was doing, so we'll just maybe not invite her back. But I'm still of the belief this is a Bill Burr tactic, and Koska will be in Mando season 3. If not, hell, maybe she gets fucking waxed in Book of Boba. Remember, her and Boba Fett don't like each other. I could see, Boba like, you know what? You remember that time in the bar? He just takes her out. So, but I would not be surprised if she shows up in Mando season 3, especially based on this next rumor we're going to be getting into.
Yeah, we'll see. I expect to see her there, but who knows? I mean, is she a needed character? No. Is she a cool character to have on the side? Yeah. So
yeah, I did dig her. I mean, she's good to look at. Plus, at least Lauren Mary Kim did some cool shit in the outfit, stunt wise. I don't know how much Sasha did, but she's good at sucking up that worm dish, right? Remember, she had that one helmet off scene where she's like, licks that thing up. So hopefully she'll be back. If she's not, guess what? It's really not going to fucking matter. I can assure you that as long as Pedro and Tamara and Katie and Giancarlo are back, and our boy Carl, which we know he is, they're going to be okay. All right, they're going to be okay. So like I said, this one we may be able to kind of cross-talk into our next topic here, and I will give warnings to those of you that may get upset if you hear about spoilers that are speculative at best. But over at MSW, they had a pretty interesting report last week on a Mando Season 3 scene that is going to make fans of the series happy, but also fans of just Mandalorians excited. So like I said, if this is the type of stuff you want to kind of tune out, you might want to take a break for the next 10 minutes, but here we go. All right, so this comes from, like I said, Making Star Wars from Jason, and he kind of broke it down into facts he's heard and then kind of things he's speculated on. So here's some of the things we can, I guess, take to the bank if you believe in MSW's ability to get scoops, which I still kind of do, but here we go. So, in terms of Mandalorian Season 3, they are currently casting actors and finding ways to use fan costumes to fill upwards of 75 suits of Mandalorian armor. All right, that's 7 and a 5. That's a lot. That would be more than the finale of Season 1 where you saw like all those 501 Stormtrooper cosplayers out there. I mean, 75, that's a lot of people to get into a scene of anything. All right, so featured Mando roles will be given to local actors. All right, so like Mandos that probably have a line or two, those are still going to be actors. But the background Mandos of this 75 planned Mando armors that need filled will go to cosplayers from the fandom. So again, think about what Favreau and Filoni did in Season 1 with the 501st, where they literally brought in a bunch of members one day and said, hey, get your fucking armor, come down to the set, you're going to be in The Mandalorian. All right. And I think that's pretty fucking cool. I mean, it's cheap for the studio because they know these people are kind of nutty like us collectors, and their armor is going to be probably better than what a prop maker would make at the studio. But they also know their love of the franchise. So I think it's awesome that it's sounding like it's going to happen again. Who knows if it's going to be from what's their the Mandalorian Mercs, I believe, is their outfit. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, they were the guys and girls that were at the Mando panel. It was actually funny because it's not surprising that they're doing this, because during that Mando panel, like John and Dave were just having fun because like they could say, like there was something that they would say that would cause all the Mandos to like lift their helmets up and go like, hooah, hooah, hooah. Yeah. And he's like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to use you guys in the show. He actually said that during the fucking panel, and it looks like he is. So pretty cool to see that he's
it's like when I hear stuff like this, is like, damn, I wish I lived out west. I wish I was a bit taller. And, I wish I had a set of Mandalorian armor, right? That would be that'd be an experience, even though I guarantee it's miserable because I've been on a set And if you're not doing anything, it is some of the most boring downtime of your life. It's like mind-numbingly boring sitting on a set, especially if you're not involved in anything. Yeah, SW Black Series Clips brings up a good point. Nick, I don't know if you saw this, but did you see Snoop's latest music video he's a part of where he literally dresses up in gold Mandalorian armor?
I have not.
It's beautiful. Like they get in a ship. I mean, they got they've got like Na'vi in it. They've got Star Wars characters in it, droids. Snoop, I'm not kidding. Fucking decked out, purple cape, gold Mando armor, all blinged out. The Snoopalorian, it's beautiful. I think I dropped the music video in our Discord. You should check it out. So, anyways, back to the facts here. So, like I said, Mando S3, they're casting it for a scene that is going to have upwards of 75 Mandalorians. Featured Mando roles will go to actors, but the background, it's looking like, will be filled out by fans that have kick-ass costumes. And finally, within the facts, the 75 Mandos will have an armor swap look, making them appear more colorful and in line with how Boba's armor featured different colorings or Din's original kit. You know, his was kind of hodgepodge. He had, it was almost like a shore trooper pauldron over here, the brown, and some of it was silver. So it sounds like these Mandos, I don't know if this is going to be, they'll be swapping kits live on the show, or if that's just something they have planned for the scene. But it does sound like we're not going to see, these 75 Mandos aren't going to show up and be just one clan. They're gonna, you know how Boba Fett, he's got some yellow, he's got some green, he's got some red. It's not going to be like Din, all polished metal, or Bo with the Night Owl blue look. They're going to be like the rainbow mercs. All right, so those are facts based on what MSW is told about casting. All right, so here are some of the rumors and what Nick and I can kind of jump off to speculation deep end with. All right, so again, these are rumors based on what he has heard, so there's a little bit of speculation added to it. So apparently, disparate individual Mandalorians are going to respond to a call that Din Djarin puts out to the galaxy for help. Din's legend is growing around the galaxy at this point, with rumors of the true Mandalore returning being talked about. Din's call will lead to more Mandalorians appearing than you could have ever imagined, probably this 75 member scene. And then finally, Jason mentioned seeing some of the red Mandalorian armor being mixed up with this large group of Mandos, and is speculating that Din's call and subsequent gathering may be a unifying moment for the fractured Mandalorian society. And he also mentioned seeing familiar clan symbols in the mix and a few new ones to boot. All right. So what say you, good sir? What's your speculation here? Does this sound like a reality? Does this make sense for the journey moving forward now that we know he has the sword, the baby's gone? Does this sound like a valid plot point?
I mean, it definitely could. I feel like there would need to be something to spur this on outside of just like, oh, hey, I have the Darksaber now, and apparently I won it the way that I was supposed to win it. I feel like there would need to be some sort of like outside threatening force that like he is trying to gather everybody for. You know, like if this is the season where, you know, Thrawn comes in, or if this is the season where the Imperial Remnant actually fucking comes together in a big way, then I think that's a good call.
Yeah,
to bring all of these Mandos out there.
Just to make it clear that I don't think this is going to happen early in the season. I mean, this very well could be the crescendo point, like episode 7 type of 8 type of stuff. And Nick kind of went right where I was thinking, because if we just, you know, let's rewind back, not even a year ago at this point, to where things ended up. Okay, they have Moff Gideon. He is still under their care, which means they're probably going to be trying to shake him down for some information. Is he going to talk? Who knows? I even believe Giancarlo's like, yeah, you know, I'm in season 3, but I'm really going to be doing shit in season 4. So season 4, yeah. It sounds like Gideon is mostly going to be locked up and potentially maybe playing both sides, or at least playing the good guys from incarceration. I just have a feeling like this guy, he's not going to go without a fight, even though I guess he did try to kill himself. So yeah, maybe he will just be quiet. But I don't know. I just have a feeling that Gideon is going to have some form of role that maybe kicks off the MacGuffin or gets them thinking about, like, oh shit, we should probably go look into some of this nonsense this guy's blabbing about. But Din has the Darksaber. We saw the little bit of tension between him and Bo. We know, at least us diehards know, the importance of the Darksaber and what it means to their society. We know that their society is fractured thanks to the Empire. So I think all of this is going to pan out. It's just, is it going to be middle? Is it going to be the end? And like Nick said, I think that's the key point. What is the impetus for Din's call?
Yeah.
And if they're getting closer to filming Ahsoka, and we know her mission, and we know a big bad that she introduced in this timeline via Thrawn, that very well could be it. I mean, maybe the Empire makes one final attempt to take out the whole fucking planet of Mandalore. I mean, it sounds like it's mostly ruined at this point, but maybe Thrawn, after he learns that the Darksaber has been recaptured by this mysterious Mandalorian that no one really knew about, that he was in the Looney Tunes for a while. Now he's working with the likes of Bo-Katan. They've taken out Moff Gideon. They saved the day, 2 seasons in a row now. Maybe that will get the spotlight of Thrawn's ire upon them. And he, may take out something very near and dear to Din himself, to the Mandalorians. Not that there's much left, I would think, right? I mean, half of them are scattered around the galaxy. They don't even live on their planet anymore. So what else could you really take from these people? But it does sound like whatever the remnant is going to be getting into is going to require Din and maybe Boba and the likes, the crew, our boy Cardboard, to kind of put out that Mando bat signal. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
We were kicking ass and taking names before, but now they've just got too much firepower, too many resources, and one of the most brilliant military strategists of all time now at the helm, calling the shots over Gideon. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. So Star Wars Black Series Clips in the chat says, could it be Armorer's faction versus Bo's? I don't think at this point that, like, even like fanatics like the Armorer realize that, like, you can't afford a civil war when essentially your entire population is at an all-time low. True. So even if like, the Armor is like all pissed off because Bo-Katan told him the truth about what the coverts were all about and stuff like that, I don't think that she's going to start a war over it. The fact of the matter is that they have many bigger problems on their hands than, like, oh no, this guy doesn't think that he should live in a fucking cave anymore. Yeah,
he took a helmet off, so let's kill a bunch more powerful Mandalorians. It would not make sense.
I do think it's probably going to be Remnant Empire versus Mandalorians for some reason. And it's probably going to have to do with, like you said, Matt, like they're going to go after Mandalore in a more furious, more, definitive way than last time, try to get the actual wipeout, and they're defending themselves.
Let's think we're the Empire at this point. You look at your stat sheet from the past few major battles, and you essentially lost an entire, it was a Star Cruiser, it wasn't a destroyer or a Corvette. I mean, you lost a major fucking Remnant Empire asset to 3 Mandalorians, a couple gunslingers. So they're going to be going like, oh fuck, I mean, if we even let 75 of these assholes band together, they could take out 2 or 3 battalions of Imperials. So we need to quash this quick. I mean, maybe they take out all the Night Owls but Bo. I mean, it's got to be something huge that is going to require Din to be like, you know what, fuck this shit. Looney Tunes and regular Mandalorians, let's unite. Let's Voltron these motherfuckers. armor up, trade some pieces. Let's get colorful and kick some ass. I don't know what could the Empire do to a band of nomads at this point, though. I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
Do they get the Darksaber back? I don't know. It's. I mean, this is.
I was gonna say, like, I mean, there is a possibility that they capture Din, and since he's the rightful owner of the Darksaber now, like Bo, like maybe there's some like wires crossed here, and they put out the call. Like Bo puts out the call, and it's like, hey, look, you know, this is the guy with the saber. I don't know. I mean, there's got to be like a rallying call because the Empire did something. Like there's no other factions out there that could spur this type of action from Mandalorians, unless you were to bring in like a completely out there fucking, we haven't seen them in 20 years since the comic books or some shit like that. Like there's no other reason that there would be this much of a force built other than like Imperial aggression.
I mean, so. and this would all be contingent on if they're really going to try to extend some of this War of the Bounty Hunter stuff in Crimson Dawn. I mean, Crimson Dawn could be a faction that could potentially give Mandos an issue. Hell, there could be some Mandalorian Crimson Dawn members with what we've seen coming up in Hidden Empire. I mean, they had cells within the Empire itself, as officers. But it's. I mean, it could be as simple as Bat's saying in the chat here. I mean, we lost Grogu to one guy. We lost Gideon and his forces and a battalion of battle or dark troopers to 3 Mandos. Ott plus Ott equals Ott. So let's try to nip this in the bud quick. And maybe it is going after Din right away. Maybe, like this report says, he's kind of becoming the Luke Skywalker of Mandalorians. There's a legend starting to spread around the galaxy, and we know what happens with legends. Sometimes it turns just a proficient being into a god. And with the knowledge of him having the saber, that is going to move the meter for a lot of traditional Mandalorians. I think even the nuts would probably have to respect the Darksaber. And back to the nuts and why I could see them, Nick, maybe having a tense interaction like we had in season 1 where Fat Boy was like, fuck this guy. He deals with Imperials. Let's kill him. Yeah. I could see that happening maybe between Bo's people and the armors, but it would get to a point where they're all like dummies. Yeah, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Kind of like,
chill out.
Yeah, kind of like the armorer does herself. Like, listen, he follows the way. Let's not stab him in the throat. Because let's be real. Bo-Katan was a founding fucking member of Death Watch. She was second in command. She took out villages of regular common people. She is no sweetheart. She is not her sister, never will be. So just because she was making fun of Din all these years later in The Mandalorian, she was one of the goofballs during the Clone Wars era, okay? So you would think with her background, the armorer definitely knows of her. I think Nick made a great point. I don't see Mandalorians, especially at this point in their lives, being petty enough to try and kill each other when they have the ultimate enemy in the people, the faction that stole their planet from them. So, yeah. The opportunity to avenge that is way, way more important than like, this guy doesn't believe in the way, or this girl thinks that is crazy. So let's take one of our best players off the map because he took his fucking helmet off. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But I could see a tense encounter. I mean, that it's not just gonna be like, oh, Din, you're back, and we've heard all this shit. No, you got the Darksaber, and hey, why the fuck is your helmet resting on the top of your head? Kill him! It's not gonna. I just don't see that happening. So. But I am, we're getting some good stuff in the chat here on the live stream. If you do want to watch the live stream and you're just listening on audio, we do it every Tuesdays, typically 2:30 p. East on YouTube. I think it is natural for Thrawn to step in and probably do some shit that's going to get Din going. We need to put out the call for the Snoopalorian. And then Snoop just shows up, and
and
all he's
Snoop
got is just pounds and pounds of spice. And everyone's like, yeah, we got to take our helmets off to take a hit. And he's like, it's all good. And they're like, gin and juice, laid back with my mind on my money and my money on my mind. But I don't know. I'm liking what we're getting here. I know Nick and I lament sometimes getting these types of details. I still think this is...
It's not too bad.
Right, it's light enough.
You don't really... Yeah. It doesn't give you all of the details. It doesn't tell you like, oh, guess what? Fucking the Chimera is going to come out of lost hyperspace.
Right.
Thrawn's going to show up, then a bunch of other Imperial ships, and then the fucking war is going to break out. It doesn't give you a whole lot of stuff. It just tells you like something is coming, and the Mandos will weaponize and get ready for it. So...
Yeah, I mean, I do believe we are going to see a scene with 75 plus Mandos, and I think that is going to be ridiculous because the closest we've come to this probably is in the final season of Clone Wars when Bo enlists Ahsoka and the Republic to take back Mandalore from Maul. I mean, you have Mandalorians all over the place. But it'll be interesting, and there is a reason. And I hope we learn more through Gideon's interrogations and whatnot, and what really happened about I know I fuck it up every time and call it like the Trail of Tears. That is not correct, but it sounds like the Mandalorians had a very similar.
It was the Night of 1,000 something.
There you go. It had a very similar atrocity enacted upon them at the hands
Night of 1,000 Tears.
There you go. Night of 1,000 Tears. So there's some pretty deeply disturbing stuff that happened to these people at the hands of the Empire. And the Empire did it because they knew you could not leave a planet of free-thinking, badass, Spartan-like warriors unchecked when you're trying to control the galaxy. There's reasons we saw what they were doing in Star Wars Rebels with Mandalore and trying to get a presence on there and control it, because they knew that these people... maybe single-handedly could have taken out the entire Empire based on their fighting skill prowess. So got to take them out quick, right? I mean, that's what's his name did. Was it Serkis? He shows up there and he's like, all right, we got to take out these fucking Spartans if we're ever going to take out all of these...
take over.
Grecian islands. Okay, I'm stupid. I don't know what word is what. The spice must flow. That's right. And I find I mean, how much I almost need to read DUNE now. I mean, that says a lot about the movie. I mean, that it wants me to, it made me want to kind of dive in, but you can see how George was influenced by this stuff. I mean, he straight steals spice. Like, he doesn't even fuck around. He's like, Star Wars has spice too. Fuck it. Except in Star Wars,
seems like he straight jacked a bunch of stuff from Foundation too.
Yeah, the Galactic Empire. If you think about, though, I mean, a lot of us have called Foundation Star Wars Game of Thrones. I mean, DUNE straight up is Star Wars Game of Thrones. I mean, they literally have houses, House Atreides, House Harkonnen or Harkonnen. They have an emperor. It's like, Jesus. But I mean, the spice thing, he didn't even try. Yeah. He's like, yeah, fuck it. We have spice too. We just don't use it to navigate.
He could have called it anything else. Like, he was out there making up names for aliens, for planets, for everything. And he's like, spice. People know spice, right? Yeah, it's already out there. Spice. People already know what spice is. We're just going to fucking use it.
It's a drug. Like I said, the only thing they don't use spice for in Star Wars that they do in DUNE is to navigate hyperspace routes. I mean, that's the whole thing in DUNE and why it is the number one economy, because their pilots have to be on drugs to navigate essentially light speed. So that's why it's so important. That's it. It's just so their pilots can get whacked out and find all these secret routes. The Bene Gesserit. Yes, that's the other thing. The Bene Gesserit, Nick, these are like, they're essentially the Jedis. That's even what I told my kid. Thank you for reminding me, Trevor. They're literally the Jedi Knights. They have the Jedi mind trick, and I believe they can also use some other force powers. So George was definitely influenced by, I think, Frank Herbert's Dune novel that came out in 65. Just to recap here, be prepared in season 3 for a 75 or more type of Mando moment. Could look very similar to that coalesced moment that Bo-Katan has towards the end of Star Wars Rebels, where all the clans are there and they decide to kneel down and honor her as the ruler of Mandalore, thanks to Sabine giving her the Darksaber, which was okay back then, but not okay when literally the Mandalorians are on the run in the galaxy. For some reason, Bo feels like she's got to go back and do it the right way. But hey, hopefully we'll see that get resolved in season 3. Maybe Bo's not in it. Like I said, I watch. I mean, you just everyone follow Katie on Instagram. She's the best. I mean, I always feel like she's talking directly to me, and I love it. It's like I feel like we're friends now. And she gets her pumpkin spice lattes every morning, does her workouts, hangs out with the dogs.
Matt's got he's got a calendar. He knows her day in, day out routine.
I don't know. I'm like just fascinated with her right now. And I loved her in Battlestar. That's when I first was aware of Katie. But even in this kind of goofy Another Life, I mean, I dig that mostly because she's in it. And I think season 2, she actually gets a little nude. Not that I'm not just a creep like that. I appreciate everything about Miss Sackhoff, but I don't know, man. Her Instagram is just something fun. It's something that, as I'm doing the features for the show, if I see she's got that colored ring around her face, I'm tapping on it. Okay, did she get her coffee yet? Did she get her pumpkin spice latte? All right. This is what you do when you spend too much time on Instagram. All right, so the doozy of the week is going to have to wait. Okay, the doozy of the week is going to have to wait because we have some words from our sponsor. Just got to turn off all the stuff. I probably should do that before I kind of lead into the read here, but here we go. So, do you know what spooker restart. Time out. Sorry, Anne-Marie. I'll go ahead and you can delete that from the read. That doesn't count towards the 60 seconds. Ready? Hit the timer. Here we go. Do you know what's spookier than seeing a black cat on Halloween? It's shaving your balls with anything other than Manscaped. When it comes to below-the-waist grooming, there's no need to carve your pumpkin this Halloween because Manscaped is here to upgrade your grooming experience. Go from bite-sized candy bar to a king-size candy bar and join the 2 million men worldwide by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code, say it with me everyone, SWTS. Nick and I, we've been pumping the Manscaped for a few months now, the Lawnmower 4.0 in particular, as well as the Performance Package 4.0. And, like we said, no BS. They are good products. The shaver's fantastic, one of the better ones I've had for sure. You got to like the light on it. It's powerful motor. I'll tell you what, Nick, I know this, I'm probably okay saying this, but there's a whole bunch of stuff we're not allowed to say anymore, by the way. But what I found very impressive with the Lawnmower 4.0 and the Weed Whacker, I feel like these things have their own nuclear reactor in them because I use them almost every week, and I have not had to charge these things since I got them in May. All right, so hopefully I'm not getting...
the battery is incredible.
This is my personal experience. I'm not... that's not an official sale line, but the batteries in these are essentially Iron Man. They're like those arc reactors because it's like, I don't think they're ever going to need a recharge. But again, that's not an official statement from Manscaped. That's just my personal experience. But Nick, we use these things because, there's some people out there that try to trim their balls and it turns into a Freddy Krueger film, right? It gets messy. It can get painful. That's not going to happen with Manscaped because they've got you covered. You should be able to protect yourself while you're down there trimming your balls with the Lawnmower 4.0. But really, what we want you to look into is unlocking your confidence with the Performance Package 4.0 because again, it's got the Lawnmower 4.0. It's got that Weed Whacker in it. But more importantly, it has some of our favorite products we've gotten from Manscaped, and that is the Crop Reviver Ball Toner and my personal favorite, the Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant. In fact, right now, I think I'm getting a waft of it from my seat because I get a little steamy down there when we do the podcast, and it smells fantastic, even hours after putting that preserver on. All right, so in addition to all those products, within the Performance Package 4.0, you're also going to get those boxers that Nick likes to walk around the house in. One of these days, maybe we'll get him to do the show with no pants so he can show them off. But you also get the Shed Travel Bag, so you can bring all of your goods and those boxers to whatever destination you're headed to this Halloween. All right, so if you're looking like Wolverine and haven't cut your nails recently, be sure to also look into another kit that Manscaped has right now, and that is the Shears 2.0 nail kit. And I actually think we got those too, right? Did you get the nail grooming kit?
I did.
All right.
I've been using it as well.
Yes,
it's been super helpful.
They work quite well. So don't forget, everyone, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code SWTS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code SWTS at manscaped.com. Say trick or treat to your beautiful new Halloweeny with Manscaped. Man, there's a lot of new rules here I probably should go over. Yeah, please add your... Okay, so I did that right. Please add your own opinions. Okay, be transparent. Got it. Facts and claims. Okay, all right, good. All right,
I think
so
we covered.
Yeah, if I'm in jail next week, you know why? It's because I kind of went off script there and was talking about the batteries, but I'm not kidding. Like that, I wish
batteries are great.
I wish I had these batteries in my camera or in my iPhone. It's ridiculous how long these things have lasted.
Yeah.
All right, Nick. So the big story of last week, or hell, I think it was breaking right into the weekend, right? Like this is like a Friday night deal. Nick.
Yeah, it happened.
I always know it's a kick-ass story when Nick's like, hey, fuck it, man. I'm going to go ahead and post this one because Tones did it in Discord. I'm like, man, it's Friday night. I've had a beer. I'm feeling lazy. But luckily, my buddy here was already on it in Slack. He's like, I got this shit, which means that he is engaged with the whole Hayden Christensen reprising the role of Anakin in the Ahsoka series. And who broke this? THR, right? So this isn't the Star Wars Time Show or all these other idiots on Reddit. This is a legit online publication that by no means would run something like this unless they had it on good authority that it was going to happen. Plus, I don't know if you caught it before it got deleted. No, Rosario Dawson herself
I saw the tweet.
Retweeted the article and said, Sky Guy, they know. And I'm just, so yeah, it's official. It's as official as it can get without Lucasfilm kind of putting out the post. But Hayden Christensen will be playing Anakin. I know Nick put Slash Vader in the Ahsoka series. So that's pretty fucking great.
Yeah, no, it's huge. It's huge. And like you said, this is THR, and typically THR doesn't run something with the exclusive tag on it if it's not going to turn out to be true, because it'll just make them look bad. But also, if you think about it, now that Hayden is back in the fold, back in the Star Wars fold through Kenobi, it wouldn't make sense to like let him do that and go away. I mean, you have this series with Ahsoka, and if there is one person important in Ahsoka's life, it's Anakin Skywalker. So having him make an appearance either through flashbacks, forced communication of some sort would only elevate the series. There's no, I don't think that there is a possible way that you could include Anakin in the Ahsoka series and actually make it'd be a detriment to the show.
Right.
So I thought it was massive. I thought it makes complete sense, and it's going to make this show so much more interesting, especially if we get the type of Ahsoka that we saw in Mando season 2, where she's essentially a lone wolf. She has nobody else helping her. She's not a part of some sort of band or group or anything like that. like she kind of was in Rebels, where she may not have been directly patched in, with the Ghost crew, but she was in constant communication with the Rebels and everything like that. It seems like in the current timeline, she is truly a lone wolf. So to have some constant companion, even in the shape of like a Force ghost or like a Force presence with her, in Anakin, I think that would be pretty fucking cool.
All right. So, and I'm with you. Like, I mean, really, we can sit here and wax poetic about how awesome it is that he's in there. I think the fun thing is the fact that Hayden, as your Nick is saying in the article, is essentially either he is re-embracing Star Wars or Lucasfilm's like, you know what, we fucking destroyed this guy's Golden Globe type of career. It's time to start throwing him some bones. But I think the fun thing with this news, Nick, is how will the character be used and how will Hayden be used? If we're believing what we've been told about Kenobi, it doesn't sound like at least I haven't heard anything, MSW hasn't heard anything, other leakers haven't heard anything about getting flashbacks in Kenobi, even though it would work. And if one shows up, great, I'm all for it. But it does sound like Hayden, for the most part, will be Darth Vader in Kenobi. So now that Hayden's getting a turn at Ahsoka, he can only be one of two versions of Anakin. Flashback General Skywalker or oddly young-looking Force Ghost. And this, so which one do you want to start with first? Because I want to kind of prop each method up, but also tear it down as to why it will not work that way.
I mean, personally, I think that you could have all three versions of Anakin in here, but we'll get to that a little bit later.
Well, Vader's dead, so, I mean, unless there's a flashback of her fighting Vader or thinking about Vader, then to me, it's still just General Skywalker or Ghost Skywalker. Yeah, I mean, I think that they're going to use both. I think that there will be flashbacks and ghosts, so I think likely, if I was going to play it a certain way, the way that I would do it is, like, she obviously has flashbacks and stuff like that of her time with Anakin, and then her revelation that Anakin is Vader throughout her life. So you would see those like throughout the series, and then you wouldn't bring him in as a Force ghost until maybe halfway through the series, maybe the second to last, third to last episode. So you get all of this reminiscing, all these painful memories, then finally, like in a dire moment, or like when the chips are down and she feels like she's truly alone, like that's when he reemerges as Force Ghost Anakin to her. And this would be like the first time that he has revealed himself to her as a Force Ghost. I like that. Because I know in our Discord, I mean, I'm an opinionated person and I respond immediately without thinking too deep. And trust me, Nick, I didn't piss anyone else off. This is not one of those weeks where I scared away another fan. But I don't know who it was, maybe Ted5 standing by, someone that's active in Discord is like, oh, what would it be? And I'm like, I don't know. Flashbacks just makes way more sense than a Force Ghost. But if you think about it, the way Nick set it up, I think that would probably be the perfect way to do it. Because in my mind, there's no way Ahsoka is just casually chatting with Force Ghost Anakin right off the bat. Because these two, essentially the last time they saw each other, they're trying to kill each other. And she finally learned that her teacher, her instructor, was a piece of shit. He quit. He joined the dark side and brought all sorts of terror and destruction to the galaxy. So she's not just going to be like, oh, hey, Anakin, you're back. Thank God your son saved you. And by the way, why aren't you hanging out with him? Why the fuck are you hanging out with me? I mean, Luke literally redeemed you. He needs some training. I'm already a fucking master wizard. I'm good, right? You know what I mean? It's like, what would be the point for Ghost Anakin to show up early on to Ahsoka? So that was one of my knocks on Ghost Anakin. The other knock on Ghost Anakin, and this is George's fault, there's two Ghost Anakins in this world. There's our boy Sebastian Shaw, who got deleted because of the prequels and was replaced by an unaged Hayden Christensen. So how do Force Ghosts work? Can you pick whatever age you want to be, or you just George Lucas said, you know what, we just we've told Anakin's prequel story now, so now he gets to be the Force Ghost version of Anakin Skywalker. Yeah,
I think that as a Star Wars fan, if you want to think purely canon, the Sebastian Shaw version does not exist anymore. Like it doesn't exist. It never existed in George's mind. I feel like in George's mind, Sebastian Shaw was always a placeholder until he did make the prequels. So to me, there is only one version of Ghost Anakin.
So is the theory then? Hayden. Because I mean, I guess we can still go on the under the guise that he is the chosen one. So I guess he wouldn't have to learn like Obi-Wan and Yoda and Qui-Gon how to become a Force Ghost. Like, let's not even scratch that fucking scab, right? Because how the fuck does Darth Vader, a Sith Lord for most of his life, learn how to become a Force Ghost? I mean, Qui-Gon Jinn, the guy that discovered it, didn't have enough time to practice it to actually become a corporeal version of a ghost. He can only become a disembodied voice. Yet this motherfucker is a dickhead his whole life. Then his son redeems him by chopping his hand off, and he immediately becomes a Force Ghost. See, all right, I know.
I feel like he got enough Force Ghost votes to make the panel. So they were like, all right,
I know.
You know, Yoda voted for you, Obi-Wan voted for you, Qui-Gon voted for you, so you made it. You get a body.
I know I'm being a little Neil deGrasse Tyson here with fucking Star Wars. I'm just having fun, but it is odd that for out of nowhere this character learns this ability when we know Sith can't do it, but somehow he can do it right at the end, and he goes from his true ghost form to his younger self in the snap of an edit. And yeah, I know that's fucking George's call, but why is this character allowed to pick his appearance as a Force Ghost and no one else is? Does Obi-Wan like being the decrepit version of himself? Does Yoda like being the old, kind of slightly hobo-ish crazy version of himself? It's just, it's fucking goofy, right? I mean, let's just face it. It's goofy.
I mean, also, if we stuck with Sebastian Shaw as the Force Ghost, you could never use him again because the motherfucker's dead.
Right. So. Yeah, I know. It conveniently, it's going to conveniently work, right, Nick? But it's just going to be weird seeing goofy looking long hair Anakin as a Force Ghost, even though he died.
I mean, also, like, nobody ever saw Sebastian Shaw as Anakin ever.
Well, we did when he took his helmet off. He's technically Anakin Skywalker again, right? So we get one shot of like his white head.
I guess that counts. Yeah, I guess that one moment counts. But I mean, the only person who's ever truly played Anakin Skywalker pre-Vader was Hayden.
Yeah. So I think you nailed it. I think that has to be the way. If they are going to use him in both timeline or in both versions of himself, General and Ghost, I don't think Ghost can be right off the bat because it would make no sense. I mean, someone in the chat made a good point of, damn it, they're good today in chat. 1-6. I was kind of thinking about that. Like, I guess that could be the write-off that when you kill your Jedi self, that's you come back as the last version of your Jedi self and not your old self, but it's still a little like, okay, science fiction, we can do whatever the fuck we want type of stuff. Yeah. Damn it. Where was I going before I got distracted? You see, I get distracted easily, Nick, and then the gray matter can't hold on to the active thought. Fuck, I had a point. No, okay, anyways, what Nick was saying. Yeah. Even, I believe Black Series Clips brought this up. Casual people that are going to be drawn into this from Grogu love and whatnot, you can't just like throw out like, oh, hey, why is this ghost talking to Ahsoka? Like, what the fuck does she know with Anakin Skywalker? Why? And by the way, why is Anakin Skywalker hanging out with her and not his fucking son? I mean, that's my other thing. Like, if we are going to get a lot of heavy ghost Anakin to help her out in her time of need, where the hell was he when Luke was freaking out and locked himself on an island? Like, hello? Yeah. Ghost Vader showed up for fucking Rey. I mean, literally, Ghost Vader shows up for Rey. He never shows up for his son unless it's to be written in books and comics to kind of fill in some gaps, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Honestly, I feel like the main problem that you run into with this type of phenomenon in Star Wars is that Anakin can talk to every character in Force Ghost form, or he should talk to every character, because you could argue like, well, why didn't he talk to Obi before? Like, you know, like there's a lot of different people that Ahsoka, Luke. He could even talk to Leia. He could talk to fucking,
but no, he's talking to his former apprentice that he tried to kill, and not his son who redeemed him. That's like, this is where I get in my head, like really weird shit. And most people think about their futures and their kids and investing. I'm thinking like, how does this work? Like, would Anakin really blow off Luke after being saved and focus his time on the likes of Ahsoka, and then, you know, another 20 years, 40 years from now, Rey, but never his son who redeemed him?
But I think the one way that you could look at it too is like, who, like in this scenario that we're painting here with Ahsoka, like Ahsoka is like dwelling on him and is still caught up on his tragedy and what his fall to the dark side did, not only to her but to the galaxy in general. So like, while Luke may already be kind of past that because they had their reconciliation moment at the end of episode 6 and he's come to terms with what his father had become and his eventual turn back to the light at the end, like Ahsoka still doesn't have that closure yet. So while he could have been talking to Luke, he knows that, you know, like he could be like telling Luke, oh, don't, you know, build the spire on the building for the Jedi Council this way, not this way. Like he knows that Ahsoka probably needs him more than Luke does at this time.
Gotcha.
Because she still hasn't fully come to terms with.
Let's be real. He's a shitbag dad anyways. It's not like he did anything for his kids for, 20 plus years. So, I mean, it's not that big of a surprise. I want to address a few things here. Yes, Tones in 1-6, we can go with the whole you revert back to what last time you were a Jedi, but Sebastian Shaw was literally the old version of Anakin first before he decided to replace him with young Anakin. So I know we can sit here and rewrite history, and we're going to have to, but all of our dumb arguments really don't line up thanks to what George did with the end of Return of the Jedi. But
that's the thing, is like once that edit was made, you have to just accept that Sebastian Shaw Anakin doesn't exist and never did.
But he's still in the movie. Like at that theory, they should have CG'd like Hayden's face onto Sebastian's face when he takes the helmet off. Then.
Yeah, but nobody knows that that's Sebastian Shaw. Like nobody, nor does anybody care that that's Sebastian Shaw, because it's just an old, crinkly, fucking you could literally put any random white person's face in there, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But if you're going to it's not even an argument that like Sebastian Shaw should be in it, because he's deleted from all elements of Star Wars that have been released since I know, but it is funny. Like we can sit there and we can do gymnastics in our head, and we'll accept it, but it's still, there's a lot of fuckery going on because of what George did with that one quick scene by deciding. I mean, he didn't even fuck with it in the special editions. He's like, all right, well, now that I've showed him what young Anakin looked like, I might as well dump him in. Why not? Because it makes zero sense, but it does to me, and I made this shit, so blow me. And hey, we just got to live with it. And the other thing, until it's written, I'm still going to go with Anakin did not touch in or connect with Luke post being saved. Until it's in something, yes, I know we can sit there and be like, well, there was like 40 years or something, but until it's written, I'm going with Anakin just chose to keep ignoring and being a bad father to his children after his redemption. But back to this, I wouldn't say that. And Nick, I think you're spot freaking on, man. I really think. Who knows? We're probably going to see something in the Ahsoka series that causes her to kind of
have a flashback, a good memory of General Skywalker and their time together. And I know that could get into some wonkiness, like are they going to de-age Rosario, or are they just going to change the makeup to make her look a little bit younger, right? Because we're talking at that point, 25, 27 years post Clone Wars. So, but I mean, Rosario's a beautiful lady. I think they could still pull off a younger Ahsoka with her just by changing some of the makeup. Let's be real. The whole Anakin Force Ghost looking young is a bigger issue in my mind than how do we make a younger looking live action Ahsoka. So yeah, because I mean, you can see in the image that they used for Anakin, or for Hayden's image in the THR article, like, he's aged substantially since, it's been 16 years since we saw him as Anakin. Right. So, I mean, not only has his body composition changed because he was bulked up and pretty big for Star Wars, but like he's 16 years older. Like, you can see wrinkles in his face. You can see a lot of difference in just his general look. So, but Nick, I think he's been working out, so that must mean he's Darth Vader again, right?
He's Darth Vader again. But yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to have to do some de-aging, some touch up and post in the Force Ghost / like flashback scenes and stuff like that for him. But like you said, they'll have to do it for Rosario too, and see what they do with those kind of flashbacks. What I think is interesting is that, like, we're finally getting these two characters that we've known for years. I mean, we've known Ahsoka and Anakin as a duo for a decade now, if not longer than a decade. Oh, yeah. And the two characters that are playing them have never interacted as Anakin or Ahsoka before, ever in their lives.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I still think Nick nailed it, though. I do think it'll play out. And who knows how much he'll be in it. Hopefully more than we're thinking. But I could definitely see older Ahsoka reminiscing about her times of the man that kind of helped get her on her path. And let's be real, I mean, Anakin's training did mold the type of person and the type of Force user that Ahsoka ultimately ended up becoming. And you could say it's on two fronts, both when he was good and kind of his cockiness and brashness, but also seeing his fall and learning from that, and her recession from the Jedi Order, and her kind of, as Filoni has said, becoming one of the strongest Force users in all of Star Wars, essentially on her own. But using the training she directly got from Anakin, a little bit from Obi-Wan, and I'd argue the biggest influences in Ahsoka's life are Plo Koon, that's who found her. Kenobi, that's her like grandfather, and then obviously her brother, or I guess Kenobi would be like daddy, and then her brother
Kenobi would be like
brother Anakin. So I could 100% see her maybe having a tough time, or maybe seeing something, looking at her old lightsaber and having the flashback. There we get some General Skywalker, maybe see them doing some kick-ass action stuff, or him teaching her a lesson that she needs to remember in the future. We've seen that before in shows where a character that's going through some shit will have a flashback where they are taught a lesson from their mentor that they need to kind of reapply in the later stages of life. And then I think another brilliant guess by Nick here, let's take it to the bank, in fact, is that something's going to happen in Ahsoka where she may, for the first time in all these years, or Anakin for the first time in all these years, will reach out and try to connect, to get some advice, maybe even to let him have it for a little bit. Like, dude, why did you do that to me? And blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah. How could you do that? But ultimately, he will come back as a ghost to propel her beyond whatever obstacle or challenge she is facing that requires him to show up in corporeal form.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really excited about not only this, but like what else could spawn from this. Because I don't feel like you take, your essential savior of the galaxy, your original one, and then just say like, okay, we're going to put him in Kenobi, we'll put him in Ahsoka, and then we'll just kind of, no more. I feel like now that Hayden is open to like roles in Star Wars again, especially on the Disney Plus side, like there's so many different ways you could use him. Not only like in, de-aged factors, either through Force Ghost form or through flashbacks, but like just using him as like, even if it's just like voice parts, or using him as Anakin again in other series, maybe even giving him starring roles as Anakin / Vader in another series. Like, he's back in the fold. I feel like you have to take advantage of that, because for 15, 16 years, you were never going to see Anakin again, because the one guy who played him was basically done. I mean, you were never going to see him in live action again, because he was never, like, Hayden was never going to touch the franchise. I just hope that this is not the last time that we see Hayden playing this role again, because it's too important of a role, it's too important of a character to not use in other spots.
Yeah.
I'm not saying make everything have fucking Anakin Skywalker in it, but like there are things that we've been asking for years that could be done now that he's back in the fold again.
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on, and it does sound like in Kenobi we may get the most Vader we've ever gotten, and I'm not talking just screen time. Like, we might actually get some insights into how he was thinking during this period of Star Wars. But ultimately, as we've been beating on the Darth Vader needs his own shit drum for years, like Nick said, there's still tons of potential to have a Star Wars, a Vader story, right? Or a standalone Vader flick where you are getting nothing but his point of view. I really want to see how Kenobi plays out and how much they truly give of Vader / Anakin's point of view, or if he will just still mostly be the antagonist that, will throw some lines out there that may harken back to the past. But what I'm looking for, and I know Nick's looking for, and a lot of you, is the Rogue One violence, but also him being the driver of the narrative, him being the main character, maybe getting some inner monologues, maybe getting more conversations where he was doubting what the hell he was doing, and the continued fear, anger, and pain that he has to put himself in through so he stays sharp enough that his boss doesn't kill him. I mean, there's a lot of good shit behind Vader that, some of it's been explored in the comics. And I'd be fine if they just take some of those stories and put them on screen. But this is Hayden being involved in another major Disney Plus project is only good news. And as Nick said, it can only lead to more, or hopefully will lead to more roles, more little parts, and just more Anakin and Vader on that platform.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's a good time to be a fan of Anakin right now, because this is an unprecedented time, like we never thought we were going to get him back, and finally after fucking 15 years he's back. So let's use him to the fullest potential, I would say.
Yeah, and there's some people that I still think they think that Hayden in the prequels is the guy. Like, that's what you get when Hayden is on a project, and it's just not. We've said it 1,000 times. I mean, the guy was getting Golden Globe nominations before he took the role of Anakin Skywalker. Like many other before him that is in the lead main super duper Skywalker role, he sadly, his career was sacrificed at the altar of George Lucas's lack of direction. All right. I mean, everyone looked like shit. All right. I mean, Ewan McGregor had some very wonky scenes. Natalie had some very wonky scenes. I think Qui-Gon was the only one that didn't really get super wonky, and that's just because the fucker got killed in the first movie, so he didn't have more opportunities to be directed like a bozo. I have a feeling Hayden is going to... He's probably... I mean, hell, he's done with a Kenobi, but I guarantee that motherfucker attacked that role with a level of tenacity, veracity, velociraptor that you've ever seen. Like, I mean, this guy knows. He knows his reputation after the prequels. He's not a fucking idiot, right? I mean, I'm sure he's not on social media for a reason, because he's been nothing but skewered for the past 16 years, right? oh, Hayden sucks. Anakin sucked because of Hayden. Hayden is a terrible actor. Sand, meh, I hate them, sand people, right? I mean, he had some bad scenes, but he had some good scenes, and I have full faith in this dude.
Everybody had bad scenes.
Of course.
Everybody. It doesn't matter who you were. Everybody did. Even fucking Qui-Gon, even Liam did in the first movie. Like, he still had bad shit.
Ian McDiarmid, like a thespian.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in, what is that, Revenge of the Sith, where he goes, yeah! Like, yeah! What the fuck is that? like, what is that?
Yeah.
He's going from playing, like, the level-headed, well, he's not an emperor yet, but the Supreme Chancellor, to he's like, yeah! Yeah! Like, he's letting Sidious pop out of nowhere in front of Anakin. It's just... a lot of weird shit.
Such bad choices. So no, I mean, in like, if you have never done yourself a favor and watched some of like Hayden's back catalog before he got to Star Wars, definitely do it, because I mean, the guy did incredible stuff. Like, Life Has a House, fantastic. He did this movie called Awake, really good too. He did he did a bunch of shit that he got like nominated for Golden Globes for and stuff, and then, you know,
hey, dude, he's not even bad in Jumper. I'm not saying Jumper's like this amazing film.
Yeah, I thought Jumper was super fun.
He's more than capable in that, and you know, I'm like I said, I'm expecting this dude. He's not going to fuck up this opportunity. I mean, he's already had one. We're going to see what he did in Kenobi, but if he's mostly in the armor, you know, you can get away with anything there. Plus, his voice will be dubbed. But in Ahsoka, I'm pretty sure it's going to be full on Hayden himself. Any Darth Vader scenes really would make no sense unless she is having a relapse or a memory of her fight from Star Wars Rebels that they're going to make live action. I don't see them doing that. I don't know. I really see Hayden in Ahsoka being Hayden as General Skywalker / Ghost Skywalker.
Yeah, I do think that I hope fingers crossed that we do get some Clone Wars scenes remade into live action. I don't know if they're willing to go that far, but the thing is like, Dave Filoni is the creator of both, essentially the creator and the sign off for both of these shows. So I mean, if he wants it done, it's going to get done.
I believe Dave is the lead on Ahsoka. Like this one's his baby. Yeah. I mean, obviously Favreau's the king of all of it, but I believe Dave is doing most of the writing. I don't know if he's going to direct them all or spread that around like they've been doing on the other properties. But yeah, I mean, Filoni, come on. He's going to do it right. Anakin's going to come off fantastically, I believe. And I would love to see some Clone Wars General and Snips action in live action. I mean, I think it'd be fantastic.
Do you think when George Lucas like eventually comes onto that set, like Hayden's gonna have like some crazy flashbacks where he's like, oh my God.
PTSD.
He's just like, he's like,
see him in a ball in the corner in the fetal position, going, oh no,
sand. I hate
it's coarse. It's irritating. It's coarse. It's irritating. No. Oh, that poor bastard.
Floods back all the memories.
Like you know me.
Oh man.
Like idiots have probably walked up to him and been like, "Hey, do you like sand? Haha. Hey, have you ever gone to the beach? Ha 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 ha." He's probably like, "Fuck you."
If I had that experience, I would do the same thing he did. I would never be on social media. Yeah. I'd be like, "I never want to act again. Leave me the fuck alone."
I mean, I think he just started going to like celebrations and cashing in on the autograph lines recently.
Dude, that's what I was. Yeah, I think it was TLJ celebration, right? Like that was the first one that he was at, the one that you were at.
Yeah, it was that one or Chicago. I can't remember which, but yeah, I mean, he skipped out on all that free money. Because let's be real, I mean, there are motherfuckers there. Well, hell, SW Props just went on a con deal with Lauren Mary Kim and what's her name, Emily Swalls, who plays the armorer in Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, and it's Emily something.
Either way, I mean, the armor for the most part is a bit character.
Emily Swallow.
But I mean, these
even see her face.
Right? These actors, the stunt girl and the actor, are going to cons, making cash on autographs. Yeah. And Hayden was Darth fucking Vader, Anakin Skywalker. And he's like, you know what? I don't need that money. I'm not William Shatner. I'm not George Takei. I'm just going to go live in a hole because that franchise ruined my life. I only make direct to Walmart bin movies these days. I mean, he has made a lot of like B-level shit. I think he's got one with like Gary Oldman, stuff. Like some post-apocalyptic is one of his most recent, but he just disappeared. I mean, he pulled Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. He completely disconnected from the fandom, from the franchise, and was like, you know what? This was supposed to be the greatest thing of my life, and it ruined it. So hopefully this second turn at Anakin is going to finally pay off on all the dreams that young Hayden probably had back in when they cast him, probably in the year 2000, 2001, something like that.
Probably 01 probably.
Think about how excited he was getting that call, and then you fast forward 21 years later, and he probably deep down laments becoming Anakin Skywalker. He's like,
this is the worst decision of my life. I mean, also think about this: that Anakin was this close to being Leonardo DiCaprio. Pew. Like that, he was the original cast. Like they casted him originally, but I think he ended up pulling out because of something else he had going on at that time.
Yeah, someone's like, hey dude, you're on your way to be getting Oscar noms left and right. Don't do Star Wars. It will kill your career. Don't do it unless you can get like a support role. You do not want to become the chosen one. Anyone that plays a main Skywalker, their career ends. See Mark Hamill. See Carrie Fisher. Now see Daisy Ridley, even though she's not a real Skywalker, but hey, she took the name in the end, so the theory still plays out.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. So this is 02, just from 02 to 06 for Leo, which is roughly the same period that Anakin was going on. He does Gangs of New York, Catch Me If You Can, The Aviator, and then The Departed.
A few decent films.
And then he does Blood Diamond in 06 too, which I'm pretty sure he won an Oscar for. So or he got nominated for an Oscar for. So this dude, he doesn't take Anakin Skywalker, and in that period of time, he becomes the biggest actor in Hollywood.
Yeah, I mean, we could be talking about Hayden banging models left and right, and he discarded Giselle to go to Tom Brady, but no, we're talking about the guy making movies that go right to the discount bin in Walmarts. So, whew,
such a wild.
I can't blame him. I mean, hell, if I was a taller man at that point in time, I would have loved to have been Anakin too. But it's pretty much now at this point, if you take that role in a Star Wars movie, your career's over in Hollywood. It's just over. I
mean, still. That's
what I mean.
Like, it does. Yeah, it doesn't even end with Lucas.
No,
still.
I mean, Daisy's a fucking talent, and she has essentially been canceled. I mean, I think her last movie was that Chaos something with Tom Holland that's like it's on like Hulu now.
Yeah, that didn't do well.
Yeah,
that didn't do
terrible
well at all.
And
Chaos Walking.
She's a talent too. I mean, she's a fucking talent.
Yeah.
Oh well. All right, so now this was fun, and I love that Rosario just straight confirmed it, and then had to delete the media post. But this is as legit as it gets, unless they're going to fire everyone and cancel the show after Rosario confirmed. Right? Yeah, Tones is right. I mean, hell, Jake Lloyd is worse off than Hayden. I mean, he really
Jake Lloyd had
took a turn for the worse. I mean, he looks like I don't know, allegedly. I mean, he looks like he was on meth there for a while.
I say he had some drug issues. He had some, issues with the law and everything too. I mean, it did not go well for him post.
Be careful what you wish for in the Star Wars universe, man. I mean, there's I think there's probably more examples of Hayden than there are of like people like Pedro or Tamara that are being celebrated for their Star Wars roles these days. But it was hard to get that stink off for a lot of them. I mean, Ewan managed to do it, Natalie and Qui-Gon shit. Liam obviously made it out, but if you're play a main Skywalker, it is a dicey call.
Tough.
So Adam Driver will be half canceled.
Adam Driver will be half canceled.
He technically, he's made it. He's actually made it through, but we'll go with that. Obviously he's a solo over a Skywalker. But yeah, Adam has actually still been in a lot of projects. I did not go see The Last Duel. I heard it was okay, but
I heard it's
terrible? Or
I've heard really good things about it.
Yeah.
I've heard excellent.
I mean, I like Adam, I like Matt and Ben, so I figured if anything, I'll at least watch some actors I like. But yeah, I mean, Adam's made it out, so he's more in the line of like Natalie and Ewan. He didn't quite get the stink on him, the full Skywalker stink. Life is tough, but hey, we do a podcast in our basement, so I don't feel too bad for these people.
Yeah. Oh man, I feel so bad for Hayden Christensen that he made like millions of dollars.
Yeah, I mean, he probably still
decided
makes
to retire at the age of 24.
I mean, what do you think these people? Do you think they get residuals for the films, or do you think they took some sort of deal that had like an end of life to it?
I feel like they get residuals, but they didn't get like, especially people like back then, like, you know, Hayden and Natalie, like pre her True Explosion and stuff like they didn't get like a point deal where it's like you get your salary plus points on the back end. Like they definitely still get residuals, but it's not going to be something that they can like purely sustain themselves.
Yeah, because I know
probably.
Like just my buddy that's in the industry and's been there for a while and has been a double on some pretty major shows that have gone into syndication. I think NCIS LA being one. I haven't asked. I mean, I don't care. I mean, it's rude to ask, but I think a year or two ago, his residuals every year was about $150,000. And we're talking about a fucking stunt guy doing doubles or like just a background character. We're not talking like a main lead. So there's a chance people like Hayden, even not having work, are probably still getting $250,000 a year just for the work they did 20 plus years ago.
Listen to this shit. Since Titanic was a movie, DiCaprio makes more money than people on the list. But how much more? Turns out he has received $300 million in residuals from reruns of Titanic alone.
Okay, that question fucking answered. So yeah, Hayden's probably making quite a bit from his turn as Anakin Skywalker. So while his career was ruined, he's probably lived a pretty good life as long as he is mentally strong. He's probably lived a pretty easy life with his young one and Bilson.
TNT would Rachel Bilson, like TNT would run the Star Wars, like the full Star Wars saga back to back for like 3 weeks, like every other month. Like that shit, he would make so much money from that. Oh my god.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man,
fuck. I want to get out of my basement and go get on a movie and get some residual checks at this point.
One acting role in a movie that is good for a little while.
Forever. I mean, hell.
Some of those
Like, I mean, think about it. Do you think people like Hamill are still getting checks for the originals? Probably, right?
Yes. Yeah. Here's the issue now with streaming is that your residuals go away because they're not usually playing them on TV anymore. And I don't know how streaming residuals work. So like when you would play, like when fucking, you know, TBS would pick up Star Wars and they would play it for X amount of time, you get residuals off of that. But now that Disney owns it and you can only find Star Wars on their streaming service, I don't know how residuals
I would now. I mean, I think everyone's still trying to figure out streaming and how it can be equitable to all parties. But I would assume at this point, it's probably, if it goes to a streaming network like Plus, it's probably a one-time huge check, and that's it. Like you don't get it for every time a Matt or Nick fires it up and plays it.
Yeah, probably.
Again, I lament the fact that I didn't figure out who I really wanted to be until my 30s. Fail. All right, next one here. We got another rumor, and this one just kind of popped out today, and this is still with all of the Disney Plus stuff. So, you know, some weeks it's dead, other weeks it gets a little busy. This story is another one from MSW, and it revolves around Andor and a potential casting that he heard was involved. So I guess this is another one. Maybe a spoiler, maybe not. Make your own choice. You're an adult. But according to MSW, Andy Serkis was cast in the Andor series. And if you know your shit about Star Wars, Andy Serkis brought Snoke to life in TFA and TLJ, and he probably thought he would also be Snoke in the final movie, but we know how the sequel trilogy panned out, and every other writer decided to do their own thing without making things tie together.
He's like, Wait, what do you mean I get cut in half in the second one?
Right. He's like,
oh, okay, so that's it.
You're killing me without even remotely explaining who I am or how I came to be. Okay, that makes sense, I guess. We can fill in all those gaps through the Bad Batch and the Mandalorian. We'll eventually get there and learn exactly what Snoke was and how he rose to power, but for now, Andy, sorry, you're not coming back for a third film. So anyways, the rumor is that Serkis is going to be in Andor. So the tricky thing is he just playing a random character? Because again, he's never been like on camera, like his real face in Star Wars. So they totally could use Serkis. And we know he's a fine actor. I mean, he plays Homeboy in the MCU. Andy is, we know he's a perfect CG actor, but he can also do the real thing without computers. So Nick, there is potential for Snoke or rumblings of Snoke to be in Andor, and that has been proven by Bad Batch and the comics. Like, we know at the end of Bad Batch that they have taken, what's her name, Nala Se or some shit, Nala Se to start more than likely doing some weird shit with cloning and the Force, because these are the same people that were trying to do Force experiments and did get some Force juice out of Grogu during the Mandalorian timeline. So if you connect the dots, the Empire, as early as the fall of the Republic, was starting to dabble in some weird science, right? Some dark side science, cloning this, either, battalions of soldiers, or if I can't say if, because this is what actually happens, or more than likely probably to figure out a way to to keep Palpatine essentially immortal. So there is an off chance that we could see a version of Snoke in Andor. If not, I mean, because we don't know shit about this character, even through comics, and yes, he was in tanks and whatnot, but was Snoke truly something just grown in a petri dish, or was he a being that the Empire took DNA from, just like Grogu, and tried to clone, and it got all fucked up looking? I mean, there is potential that we could meet the actual Snoke in Andor,
like the progenitor, the Snoke V1. The Jango Fett, if you will. You know what I mean? Yes. The Grogu. Because I mean, we do have canon in the books now that the Empire was trying to take bloods of unique and Force sensitive individuals and science the shit out of it for one reason or another. So there is that potential. I don't know. I don't think Andor would maybe get into some of that type of stuff and leave that for Bad Batch. What do you think? Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I don't think that they're going to dive too, because once you get into that,
it would eat the whole narrative, right? I mean, that would be everything.
It takes over your whole storyline. I tend to agree with some of the people in the chat, like 1-6 and Tone, saying he can do a ton of voices, probably going to be a highly made up character. I mean, we know he's aces on anything that is CG. He's been aces on anything CG since 2000 with Lord of the Rings. And, like you said, he can play like regular, just live action. You don't have to put shit on me roles. But I think that if you're going to bring in a talent like Andy Serkis, especially into a show like Andor, where you can have aliens and you can have all of these different types of beings, then you're probably going to use them in some sort of special effects driven role, which I'm totally fine with.
I need to watch Lord of the Rings again. That was a random thought there. I'm not like on drugs or anything, but just talking about Andy again, I'm starting to get the Gollum Smeagol in my head. It's just like, man, that guy.
Well, dude, you got to prep for the Amazon show.
You're right.
Next year.
It's actually, I am due to watch LOTR, because I think it's been at least more than that, because I don't think I've watched it since Charlie was born. So hell, I might be going on like 8 years since I've watched LOTR.
Wow, yeah, because I had the recent run through with the 20th anniversary. But I think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to play Snoke. If he's going to play Snoke, like you said, that may even come in animated form through Bad Batch, like you suggested. I think this role probably going to be something CG, probably going to be something where he's got to toss on a voice, do a nice, cool performance in the suit, in the CGI suit. I doubt that they're going to start doing Snoke stuff now in Andor, though. That would just be so out of place for the story that's being told at that time, especially since it's going pre-Rogue One. So you're going even further back. Like if it was, even if it was post Rogue One, I think it's still a little early for some Snoke dealings at that point. But we'll see.
I mean, we know through some of those set leaks that they're probably going to have a K2SO like droid. I mean, maybe he's voicing this one because unless Tydek's pulling our chain, I mean, K2SO. I still don't believe it.
Shouldn't be.
I could.
Unless it's right at the end.
Yeah, I feel like if they're not doing a second season, which why would you? Or hell, why not? I mean, I'd take it. It's Star Wars after all. But if Andor is just going to be one season, it would make sense as a final moment or last few moments to see, Cassian kind of getting K2 and maybe rewiring him and their relationship kicking off. But maybe I like that, Tones. I think that was a good idea. Coming in doing a voice or doing his expertise. Not that he probably wants to strap up in the gimp suit anymore these days. Now that he's been directing movies.
That's what I was gonna say. Do you think when his agent calls, he's like, "Man, I got a role for you. You're gonna love it. Star Wars. Star Wars. You've been in it." And he's like, "Is it CG again?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, CG." He's like, "Go fuck yourself.
I'm not putting those fucking dots on my face again and wearing that headset with all those cameras in my eyes." And that's why I'm kind of hoping, even, we know his skill set, but give the man a face. Let him be Andy in Star Wars. Make him a rebel. He looks like a rebel. Hell, you trim his hair a little bit. He also looks like an Imperial officer. He could work either faction. Yeah. So we'll see. I do think this is probably legit. I really do. Because why not? I mean, he's been in the universe. He kind of knows the ropes, and like we've said, he's multifaceted. He could do the CG, he could do the voice, or he could just do pure on-camera work. All right, my precious. So this brings us to a new toy time. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly as we're approaching our 2-hour mark, and I think I gotta pee, and I'm trying to keep. I don't know if anyone else has been paying attention, but I have not had to get up and piss during the show in months. It's almost like I got new plumbing down there or something. I really don't know what's changed. Over the summer, I thought maybe I was just sweating more during my pre-show workout, but obviously that's not the case now. Somehow, my urination during the show has been taken care of, but I also don't want to push things up to the 3-4 hours again, because then maybe I'll start doing the pee-pee dance and have to take a leak. So real quick, for those that care, Hasbro PulseCon went off last week, and it was okay. I didn't really get too excited, and I feel like as week and week goes by, Nick, I'm slowly losing my gives a fuck meter for collecting a lot of the Hasbro stuff. It just, I mean, I hate to even say this out loud, especially to our type of fans, but I'm not even feeling like collecting much of anything these days. It's like I'm kind of in one of those lulls. It's happened before in my life where I just take like a couple years off, like nothing really kind of moves me, and I'm not burning money left and right. And I feel like I'm getting there. I mean, that all could change if they show the next hot toy and I'm like, $300, I need it. But I don't really get up for these Hasbro reveals anymore. All right, so here's what we got.
Yeah.
The HasLab, the Black Series Rancor, Nick, they finally unveiled it. And quite frankly, I could give two shits about this thing. Like, this is a Black Series scale Rancor, so it's going to be massive, right? 42 inches wingspan, almost 18 inches high, 45 points of articulation. But I'm just like, I don't really care. It's the Rancor. I mean, if it were me, I would prefer a Black Series scale vehicle. We've only had, I believe, one, and it was a First Order TIE Fighter from years back. Give us Red 5. Give us Vader's TIE Advance. Give us a ship that's Black Series scale size. Not the fucking Rancor. It's like, I'm sure there's some Rancor homers out there, but it's just like, I don't care. And maybe I'll back it if we start getting some stretch goals, and the stretch goals are ridiculous. But at this point in time, my friend, I've been able to show some restraint on the Rancor HasLab, and no money has been devoted to him quite yet.
I mean, that's a $350 big boy right there. So that's probably good that you held off if you're not completely committed. And it doesn't seem like you are.
But Mama didn't raise no fool. Seeing what these HasLabs go for like a year or two after they actually come out and people realize like, oh shit, I should have backed that. I may back it for an investment, to be honest with you.
I was going to say you should back it and then sell it, because that's going to be how you make the money. Because like you'll hold on to this and then be able to sell it for $1,000.
Right. And I still have the Marvel Sentinel that was a HasLab. And for some reason, I'm stupid. I've been sitting on it and not. Oh my god, that needed to come out. Sorry, I didn't put it up right away when it released, and there was big hype around it. So I don't know what the Sentinel is going for now on eBay. But I guarantee you could probably still get close to double your money. So I mean, to me, that's still a worthy investment. So if I do back this, it's solely as an investment. All right. And none of you people are going to make me feel bad for flipping toys at higher costs. We all do it. You'd be stupid not to. Let's be real. I mean, unless it's someone like a friend from the community, like, hey, man, I fucked up and I missed out on this. I would consider giving it them for cost and shipping and whatnot, and maybe a finder's fee. Outside of that, come on. We're all capitalists here. If you know you can take something you spent $350 on and sell it for $1,000, and people are dumb enough to pay that, then fuck yes, you're gonna do it. All right. Speaking of that, I've got the old pop operation back up and running. The weather's gotten shitty again, Nick. So the wife and I, instead of doing projects outside, we're starting to get into cleaning off the last round of the pops and getting them up and listed. So.
Starting the eBay shop again.
Hopefully. I mean, we made a pretty penny last year around this time. People going nuts. And don't tell the intern, but I think I'm getting closer to selling my Star Wars Funko Pops too. Because I have some fucking gems in there, like heavy hitters, 800 plus, 1,000 plusers. But just like, why? I mean, I don't need them anymore. Got to make that cheddar. All right, so some other reveals. I think this Cobb Vanth is quite nice, but clearly a ripoff as a deluxe version, Nick. They're charging like $35 for this, and they're saying these are accessories, when literally it's part of the fucking character. Like, yeah, the jetpack, guns, and helmet are not accessories. They're part of the dude's costume or armor set. Yeah. You know, someone, I don't know who this is. I wish I remembered and brought it up, but someone did a meme on this where they put Cad Bane in the deluxe packaging, Nick, but they removed his head, arms, and legs and said that was the deluxe. Yeah, that's the deluxe version, because those are all the extra pack-in pieces. Oh my god! But I did pre-order Cobb just because I think it is a good-looking figure, even if it is a bit of a rip-off. So while I talk a tough game that I'm not buying this shit, I'm still buying this shit. And then we also got revealed Nomad Fett. Officially got revealed for Black Series. He's looking pretty good too. No pre-order info on him yet. And Black Series Mayfeld. And it's Mayfeld, motherfuckers, not Mayfield, okay? Yeah, you get sick of all the Mayfield shit out there. It's Mayfeld.
Do people really think it was? I didn't.
Everyone thinks it's Mayfield. It's like it's the same thing with my name, Nick. When I was little, and people would read it for like on a baseball roster or in class, the first time I met a teacher, they would say, "Hey, word." Where's the fucking R?
There's no R.
Where is the R? It's an East Coast people call water wooder and stuff like that, like water ice. Like, what the fuck? The wash. Yeah. Go to the washing machine. What's wrong with you people? Wash this. But yeah, we get Mayfeld, so I'll probably pick him up too. But I'm really getting to the point on the Black Series especially. Here's another Mando pack in. That's an easy pass. This is, Nick, this is, I think, the 5th version of this Mando and Grogu. They just add like different random shitty paint to the figure and accessories in the box. So pass on that guy. Here's one for you. I don't know if Leia's saber would have piqued your interest, but we got our first look at the Black Series Leia saber. When you go to the parks, you're going to have some exclusive Black Series packs that are mostly passable, right? We got some creatures, some bots, some First Order shit.
And you got First Order, yeah.
I mean,
nothing special there.
Who the fuck wants First Order stuff at this point in time? So that was a big meh. Coming down the pike, Figure and Dan, Ewok Leia, all right, and the security guards from Mando, cool. But it still seems like if I am going to keep with the Hasbro train, I should just go back to 3 3/4 inch.
I would say the 3 3/4 inch is probably your best shot now, especially with this new playset.
Yeah, I mean they're getting.
At least you got a Dio.
You're essentially getting professionally scaled and made dioramas. You got this new Navarro Cantina. It's pretty slick. I mean, this is, I think, the 3rd or 4th one now. They've done the Bespin carbon freezing chamber. They've done the Tantive 4. Now we're getting some Mando area, just pre-built dios. And the figures themselves, at this point, are just miniature versions of Black Series, if not better looking, because they're smaller. So you got some repacks here from the prequel era, but they all look good. I mean, you gotta remember, these are the size of my ween, so very tiny, yet they have more points of articulation and much better face sculpts.
Yeah.
So again, I don't know. It's like I feel like if I'm my shithead collector brain is going to still feel some obligation to turn over the cash to the Hasbro gods, I might as well go to vintage collection again. But I'm sure I'll fuck that up. Yeah. We also today, and luckily I've been skipping these because it's ridiculous. You know, last year they did it when Mando season 2 was airing. Every week they would release a new swath of collectibles to buy. This year they're doing it before Book of Boba because, let's be real, Book of Boba doesn't even air until after the holiday season.
Yeah.
So what's the point? We need to get this info out now so people blow all their wads. But today's, what do they call this? Bring home the bounty reveals, I actually thought were at least worthwhile to bring up. First and foremost, little Swago news in there. Neo Boba is coming to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. No surprise. I mean, Fennec is in there. The Bad Batch is in there. 2 Mandos, Kawil, IG-11. So it's only natural that they're bringing Boba Fett. And I think it's funny they call him the Scion of Jango. Okay.
Scion of Jango.
The Scion of Jango. But I don't know if we want to get into this, Nick, but notice his faction. Darkseid still.
Darkseid.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I know we've kind of waffled on who is this new Boba. It looked like he was down to do some right things in The Mandalorian, but by the end, he murdered a bunch of gangsters and stole a castle. So he probably...
I'm surprised that they haven't made a true neutral faction yet in Swago.
They have added... it's something like non-binding force users, if that makes sense. Like they're not dark or light. They did add that. But yeah, for people like him, they're still, it seems like you're on dark or you're on light. So it probably means nothing, but you never know. They did rate Neo Fett, a.k.a. Mando Fett, a.k.a. Dad Bod Fett, as a Darkseid faction member in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. But also, again, TVC shining. You get Corvus Ahsoka, and she looks pretty freaking great for a tiny little figure.
That looks pretty awesome. Pretty like facially correct to Rosario.
Looks great.
It's pretty good.
TVC, I'm telling you, these go on pre-order tomorrow. Look at the Death Watch Trooper. I mean, that looks fucking great. TVC. Mm-hmm. Don't have one in black. By the way, we don't have either of these figures in Black Series. And then the only Black Series reveal from today is the client. And yes, I will be adding that just because it's Werner fucking Herzog. I mean, I just love that he never even got a name. He's just the client.
The client.
Period.
I know, right? I mean, we know that he has some sort of Imperial entanglement. I like how he has the ice cream.
Yeah, he's got the Camtono. Looks like we got some Beskar in there. He's wearing medals and shit because he's important.
Yeah.
Got his little cloak. So there you go. Bring Home the Bounty was actually somewhat worthwhile this week. If you are someone that likes to kind of be spoon-fed stuff to buy from Lucasfilm, you can hit the link in our article to go over to StarWars.com and see all of the other stuff out there. I know one of the days they made a big hubbub about, I'm pulling it up now, see if it's still on there. But they had, like down the road of this, come on, you shitty browser. Either way, the roadmap for this Bring Home the Bounty crap, which clearly doesn't load anymore, they had a picture of a controller, and a bunch of people were like, oh, they're going to announce something like a Star Wars game announcement's coming. But remember, EA themselves has said no major Star Wars game announcements until 2022. Okay? So it's probably like a Mando themed or a Boba Fett themed controller. Don't get that excited.
Yeah.
It's more gimmicky shit. That's all it's going to be.
Yeah. More things to waste your money on. Go for it.
All right, so that's the toy roundup. I'm sure I've missed some stuff, but like I said, my ear is just not as close to the ground as it used to be, which has been good on kind of my soul. I don't get as worked up. I don't get as FOMO'd. I will tell you, I did kind of sit there around 5 o'clock last Friday and wait for the exclusives to go live, Nick, because that was the Trapper Wolf figure, the Dave Filoni and Rebel Pilot costume. And I grabbed the Cantina set because I have a feeling that's going to be another kind of flip it and get it some cash type of deals. But I did get in before the timer, before the bots, and I actually think Hasbro Pulse changed something this time around to make that experience less shitty. But I do believe the exclusives eventually sold out, so I'm glad I got my Trapper and that other Cantina set. But that's about it. So time for the fan segment. Real quick, for those not in the know, we do this every show. This is the only guaranteed segment you're going to get on the SWTS, and that is our fan segment, which usually consists of at least 2 ways for fans to get involved with the live stream. Hell, even the audio-only version of the Star Wars Time Show. So the first is Question of the Week. Every week on Tuesday morning via our Instagram account, we post the question of the week, typically around 8 in the morning, something like that. And fans are free to reply to the story or to the post and leave a comment, and we will choose upwards of 5 comments to read on the show. The second is the top 5, which Nick will be kicking off here after Question of the Week, and that is it's our honor time. It's where we honor those Star Wars artists out there of any ilk during the top 5 featured artists, which Nick draws upon from my daily shares for posts that people have tagged hashtag Star Wars Time Show or at Star Wars Time Show. All right, my friends, let's go ahead and do the question of the week, which was very timely and poignant. Do you want to see Anakin in flashbacks or as a Force ghost in the Ahsoka series, and why? All right.
Why?
So up first, I'll take the long one here. It's from Tong Wars. Everyone loves the Tong Wars. Ideally, both. Would be interested to hear from a remorseful Force Ghost Anakin. I'm curious how they'd have him look, though, in Force Ghost form. Anakin is essentially Revenge of the Sith age in ROTJ, but with Darth Vader memories. Might be a little weird having him look young interacting with a now much older Ahsoka. Do Force Ghosts age? Even if they do, presumably still only 5 years older than his ROTJ appear. I think he's talking about, Return of the Jedi. I'm stupid.
Yeah. His
would be cool to see Ahsoka, Force Ghost Anakin, and Force Ghost Obi-Wan, Alec Guinness form, in a reminiscent scene together.
Well, you ain't gonna get the Alec Guinness form, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what we were saying, is honestly a mix of both would probably be the best way to approach Anakin in any way in this show. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. We've never actually seen whether Force ghosts age or what.
Yeah, I mean,
could change.
We were spinning our wheels on this earlier, and it's like, you know, because of what George did with the end of Return of the Jedi, he does really make things a bit confusing. And we're not going to beat that dead horse again. If you want to hear our thoughts on what Anakin should look like, even though we know he's going to look like Hayden, it's because of the fast switch with Hayden for Sebastian that really is making things wonky here. So I would assume Force ghosts do not age; they stay at whatever form.
He's just got to hit the Force Ghost spa before he goes to any conversations.
I mean, if anything,
got to get a trim.
At least the Chosen One, it appears they can choose how the fuck they want to look, because at one point in time he was an old crotchety looking man, and then the snap of the fingers he turns back into his beautiful looking long hair wearing General Skywalker self. So I guess it's up to the Force user. All right, Nick, go ahead.
Indeed. The next one here is the Dankus Figs 59 says, honestly, I see it as flashbacks mainly and a Force Ghost K start off the series with an apology to Ahsoka for the Rebel fans. I don't think that it's going to start off the series.
No.
But I do kind of feel like there will be an apology in Force Ghost form probably towards the end, though.
Yeah, I think the way you laid it out is what I like. You know, she has fond memories either based on an experience, or she needs a lesson that she has to remember. So there's our flashbacks. It's all good. And then you go back to the present. She's all sad, like, oh, Anakin. And then, you know, shit's going to hit the fan probably with Thrawn and whatever the hell's going on. And maybe she calls out to him, or maybe he just feels like, you know what, this is the time where I need to kind of make myself available to her again.
I think so. We'll see, though. All right, next up, it's probably Brute Slaughter, but I'm going to call him Brute's Laughter. And it says, flashback. I'd like to see Kid Ahsoka voiced by Ashley Eckstein for an episode or something. I do think that they need to throw Ashley a bone on this live-action Ahsoka stuff for sure. Like, I mean, she essentially created the character and brought it to life for over a decade. And then to essentially there's only so much you can do with voice actors in live action, especially when you get to situations like this with Ahsoka, where, you know, you can't really use Ashley in live action because she's a really small human and like she doesn't actually look like the character. So maybe a flashback with her voice in it would be a good way to give her an homage in the live action.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way to pull that off would have to be all behind Ahsoka's head, like camera shots, like you just hear her versus see. Hey, dude, you just reminded me. Didn't we at some point in time come across a wild rumor that they were casting like a younger black female for Ahsoka, and some of us were like, well, maybe they're going to do a younger version of Ahsoka. Do you remember that, or am I making that up?
I don't particularly remember that one, but we've run through so many rumors and stuff. It's hard to track them all.
Yeah, a lot of hot air and bad takes have come out on the show over the years.
I mean, it really depends on how far back they go in these flashbacks. Because if you're going back to like when they first met, you are going to need Rosario is not going to be able to pull that off. Yeah.
No, but if you go back to the last year of the Clone Wars, like right before he goes crazy, then I think reworking the makeup a bit and maybe using some of that Marvel de-age. I mean, again, Rosario, she looks like she's in her 20s still, though. So I think they can pull it off. But dubbing the voice, I don't know. I mean, if it's Rosario, no way. They're not going to dub her voice even young to add Ashley in. I think it would have to be either just a voice-over type of thing where there's no characters on screen, or we would only be seeing from behind Ahsoka with Anakin being filmed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Lots of questions about these flashbacks in this one. So
all right,
we'll see how they go.
Arc
Trooper Collector says, definitely flashbacks. It would be awesome to see Hayden as Anakin during the Clone Wars era, or even a quick recreation / small scene of the duel between Vader and Ahsoka in Rebels. We were saying similar things. And then the last one, Two Possums, says neither really. I never liked him in the role, but since it seems to be done, it seems to be a done deal. I go for a flashback. I mean, there are a lot of people. I mean, we can't really argue with the quality of the performance.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, it was bad.
So you just have to get to a point to where it's like, who do you blame the performance on more, the actor or the production staff? So
I mean, to me, he has one shining moment. He has one shining moment in the two films, and it is in the Lars garage. That is some acting right there, and I've said this 1,000 times. That's what I needed. I needed more of that. I needed more of him really kind of dipping the toe into that dark side pond and letting his emotions drive his dialogue. But no, we got it once, and then out of nowhere, just as he was about ready to show Mace and the others that he wasn't a shithead, he's like, yeah, you know what? Fuck you guys. I quit. I'm going to become the worst fallen Jedi of all time and kill all of you and little kids. But hey, we're not here to relitigate the prequels and all that fun stuff. All right, so that's the fan question of the week. Like I said, if you ever want to get involved, just make sure to be following us on Instagram and checking for those prompts on Tuesday, and then laying down a comment. A lot of times, I actually like comments that are written very poorly because I like listening to Nick try to read them. That's probably my favorite part.
Stumble through reading them.
Eat, beat, bobby, boop, bop.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So now that we've finished with the question of the week, thank you to everybody who responded. We're going to move on to our Star Wars Time Show Top 5 Fan Artist Features of the Week.
Whoop, whoop.
You can get involved in this segment by tagging us at Star Wars Time Show and all of your Star Wars related art on the Instagram, and using the hashtag Star Wars Time Show on all of that art as well. Using both of those methods, make sure that you cover all of your bases for getting art seen. This week, we're going to kick off the top 5 with a first-time top fiver here at gabe.real.p. And we have an awesome shot of Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker from Mando S2 in the full black garb with the green boy lit and raised. You can see some of the shrapnel and shards from the dark troopers that he cut down flying up from the side of the shot. Awesome atmospheric effects with the smoke coming in, and just the posing is just spot on here. Really, really love it.
You know what? I think what Gabe did here, because the Mando Luke is not out yet. The Mando Hot Toys Luke is not out yet. So it looks like he took the Jedi Luke, which I have, and it's a great hot toy. But it looks like he got a custom black robe for it to kind of match Luke's robe, which we now know for sure was black in The Mandalorian, which is definitely a great way to save yourself $300 some from buying essentially the same Luke body with the Uncanny Valley head sculpt. But yeah, Nick nailed it. I mean, I love the lighting and how the greens reflecting onto the cloak. The cloak itself is fucking fantastic. It's got to have wires in it. You see how it's kind of flipped up to kind of reflect that it's being swept up by the action of the Jedi, of him putting his lightsaber up there in kind of an attack position. But hey, this is what you can do with the high-end Barbies. I mean, first and foremost, they're just great-looking figures, and if you know your way around lighting and a camera, you really can make some pretty dynamic-looking scenes, even if this is mostly a static type of shot. It's not, to me, a full-on action shot, but it has kind of that vibe, even in a portrait-like pose, so I loved it.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Good stuff there. At gabe.real.p on Instagram. Next up, we have,
this is badass,
as you put it, Matt, a super cool 3D shot from Kenobi1TO. So KENOB1, the number, TO on Instagram. And basically what you have here is I mean, this is a clone commander, or is this like a clone scout trooper?
No, I forget his name. I think this one's anymore. Bly. I'm sure I'll get beat up if it isn't, but I believe this is Commander Bly.
Clone Commander Bly, and what Kenobi one's done is like superimposed the figure in front of a background, and it looks like you said, like a really cool 3D effect pops out of it. And it does look like you're watching like a 3D Clone Wars movie. It is
wild, man.
It's awesome.
I've seen people start to do this, and it's like, I mean, Kenobi One Toe, if you go look at his page or their page, and you scroll through, you can see the BTS. This is literally this is a composite where he's got the dude right up on the camera, and then behind it was just like a white screen, and then they put this in. But it's almost like, if you have any part of the subject like coming out, or you see how his helmet extends beyond the Fallujah, the Fallujah background.
Yes.
And then you put a little motion blur there towards the focal point of the camera. It does produce somehow a 3D effect on a 2D image. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I'm stupid. Maybe Trevor, if he's still here, he can explain how this works. But by just having that helmet extend beyond the top of the background, it makes it look 3D, at least to me. I mean,
it does. Yeah.
Right. Just it's badass, man. It's just fucking cool.
Yeah. Super, super awesome work. At KENOB1TO. Like Matt said, check out his page too, because they'll give you a little BTS. And even though it probably looks complicated as fuck, and you're like, oh my God, how did he do that? It gives you a pretty simple breakdown of just like, this is how I shot the figure, and then I filled in the background. So there you go. Good stuff. Next up in the top 5 is at Tom's _picks1. This is another first time. And we have an awesome, they call it, this is the hero pose shot, but it's of Lego Hunter, and he's got him like in the background. He's like doing the hero pose, the hero landing pose in the background. You see some cool mechanical stuff. It's just a cool looking pose. He's
doing the Black Widow, but Nick nailed it right there.
Yeah, the Black Widow. Yeah.
Whenever I see Legos pose like this, I'm always going to be amazed. Because I mean, they've had to like rip legs off and probably use putty and rip arms out. And I know some of these Legos are customized to give you a little more play with them, but they're still fucking Legos. They have at best 1 point of articulation. Their waist bends over, or I guess 3. Yeah. Their arms move, like, and 4. Arms. I guess we can argue their head twists a bit, twist off if you want. So whenever you can get something like that to actually look as if it is doing a dynamic pose, it's magic to me. And that's exactly what at Tom's _picks1 did. It just look, I mean, how badass does that little thing look, right? Because I have a minifig in my hand right now. Like, look how tiny these things are. Look at this.
Yeah.
And this is all it does. Like, he can't even like blow himself, right? He can't even bend that far down. But somehow Tom's Pick 1 has the legs popped out, and it looks like they're bent, the arms bent up. It's just it's fantastic. I love this type of magic with toy photography. So really great stuff from at Tom's _picks1.
Indeed. Good stuff. Next up, I mean, this is just a special shot all around from at Wastwaji.
This is just greatness.
I mean, basically, what we have here is Han and Leia walking into maybe it's Chewie's apartment, and then Chewie is standing there, and he is completely hairless from the neck down, and he's holding a razor up, and Han's like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And then Leia's just kind of like peeking over the side, stunned.
Look, she's blushed, man. She's a little, she's a little embarrassed.
Going on. Whoa! And then Chewie's just yelling at them both. He's like, "What are y'all doing?" It's just somebody I know that on the Star Wars Time show, Share, some of our fans went in and tagged Manscaped on this, and are like, "This is the perfect piece of advertisement for Manscaped. Look what it did for Chewie." And it's just so fucking great, man. You see a big pile of hair at Chewie's feet.
Yeah, no, I mean,
his naked feet.
They're not kidding. Like, if Nick and I were more creative, we might have come up with something like this, but we're not. And Wastwaji is, and This is the first time I've actually seen one of their shots in a long time because they don't tag. So, and I know people probably think I purposely don't feature certain accounts. That's really not the case. If I don't see the shit, it doesn't exist. That's Instagram. We all know it. Yeah. That's how the algorithm is. So, and that's why we pester everyone about tagging the account and hashtagging. That way I'm going to see it. But luckily this one popped up scrolling last week, and it really is. I mean, if you're listening to the audio only version and you either tune out or you don't really appreciate this segment because you can't see anything, this is a shot you have to go to StarWarsTime.net and look at when we put out the audio version post that has all the topics in it, because it is fantastic. It's just it's a perfect idea. It looks like Tujai has mashed up the figure arts Chewbacca head onto just like a generic male naked body, and the little wall clipper in there, the poses on Han and Leia. It's just as perfect as it gets for a Star Wars humor type of shot.
Yeah, no, it was top notch.
Look at even the background. Chewie was watching Star Wars while he was shaving his nuts.
I know he's got
like looks like a Boba Fett poster, a Mando poster back there. I mean, it's just so many layers to this.
Awesome stuff, and he will give you Wastaja gives you a full BTS as well. So if you're interested in how this got done, or some BTS, you can give it a check. So at WASTUAJI on Instagram. Hilarious stuff. And the final member of the top 5 this week goes to at visual_approach_photo. And this one here, I mean, this is an awesome shot. This actually like reminded me a lot of Thanos at the end, or like in Endgame, when he's standing at the edge of that cliff and Gamora comes and joins him to try to get he needs to get the Soul Stone, and he's just like standing, and then when he pushes Gamora over, he has that breakdown. But what we see is Vader standing at the edge of a cliff, and he's holding a holocron in his hand. He has his red lightsaber ignited, and it's just an awesome pose. It's awesome lighting. I don't know if this is natural light or if Visual Approach is using some sort of external light source. And then this dio that he has here, this mountainous dio, looks incredible. He made that. It's just all right. Really, so yeah,
I can break this down a bit more because I kind of dig into this type of stuff, especially Sean's work here. But yeah, everything you see in this, Nick, is practical. The background is a painting. The mountain is literally something he made out of that foam board, that insulation foam board that dio makers use. The thing he's standing on, he made the little grass and rocks there. That's all part of a huge dio that Sean has crafted, I believe, in his garage. So yes, this is incredible. Also artificial lighting. And knowing at visual_approach_photo, notice he dropped the graphy. Now he's just photo.
He dropped the graph.
I hit him up. I was like, "Oh, another name change." He's like, "Yeah, but I didn't get rid of the underscores yet because he's like, I'm trying to, because you make me nervous every time you talk about all my underscores." I'm like, "Sorry, I'm just an asshole. Don't listen to me." But yeah, I mean, knowing Sean, the lights probably have like toilet paper rolls on them. Like, I love what he does. Like, he won't go buy a barn door or a snoot for his lights. He'll use like a toilet paper roll for a snoot, or he'll cover lights with other pieces of cardboard. So yeah, this is all practical outside of the lightsaber effect, and it's
that's fucking incredible stuff.
It's what we come to expect from at visual_approach_photo. It's just any Star Wars post, really any branded post that Sean puts out is a winner.
Yeah, just top-notch stuff. So that's the end of the top 5. Thank you to everybody who tagged us this week. Continue to tag us in your photos and your artwork, and maybe one day you'll make it into the top 5 as well. That's the end of the top 5. That's the end of the show. Matt, take us home with the dance.
I'm already there, buddy. I'm at StarWarsTime.net. That is the home he speaks of. And why should you care about that domain? It is a .net. I know a lot of people think that's still a shady domain, but it's not. It works. It's on the internet. You can find it. Just put it into your internet machine. StarWarsTime.net, the best place to find our content throughout the week when we're not talking like idiots on the show. But also, if you do want to get looped into the show, and we hope you do, we need you to, StarWarsTime.net has all of our jump-off links. Subscribe to the podcasts on the various platforms we're on. We're on all the major ones. Don't worry about it. Even if we're not on the one you use, it just means you're using the wrong platform. Also on StarWarsTime.net, you can find a nice, easy subscribe link for the YouTube channel if you want to get down with the live streams or at least be notified when we do go live. But we also, at times, especially when a Star Wars show is running, do put out homemade content on youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. Right? There's always time for Star Wars Time. And we just hope, if you're new, you enjoyed it. I know, sometimes my mouth is a little much, and I did get a little Kinnison-like today, talking about the Force ghost of Anakin, because it does kind of boggle my mind. But we have a good time. The longtime fandos, they know what it's all about. Like I said, there's always time for Star Wars Time. So if you're new, StarWarsTime.net, that's the best place to go to get looped in with the podcast on platforms and YouTube. But more importantly, it's where we have all of the brilliant content that we talk about each week. And besides, as we've been telling you all along, if you listen to the Star Wars Time Show, the Force will be with you always.